Book of Window of the Soul. Introduction. The Second Adam and the History of Souls. Albert Einstein looked up at the great display of a clear night sky while walking with a friend and exclaimed, "Two things inspire me to awe, the starry heavens above and the moral universe within." I'm sure his friend was not quite prepared to respond to such a lofty and compellingly deep statement. No doubt the world with its many distractions and needs bent the direction of his thoughts earthward again, and he put his wonderment of the universes above and within aside. But others have pursued this question with the same unrelenting introspection as Albert Einstein pursued his questions about the universe, and somehow, although their universes are not the same, these thinkers and their mediums are connected masterfully. Some 400 years before Albert Einstein proposed his theory of relativity of the outer universe to the scientific community, a rabbi named Isaac Luria disclosed his theory of the inner universe and its evolution within the mind of the ineffable to his students. Luria's theory, which followed the profound suffering and alienation of the Jewish people when they were driven from Spain in 1492, was the greatest growth and transformation ever known to Kabbalistic mysticism. And although these events cannot necessarily be proven to be connected, no one should doubt the impact that this historical atrocity had upon the minds of the Jewish people in the generations that followed. 177 years after the exile, in a small Jewish settlement in Upper Galilee called Safed, Isaac Luria not only answered the Jewish people's deepest questions about exile and homelessness, but with a vision given only to the most gifted of Kabbalistic mystics, he explained the very structure of the inner worlds of the spirit and of their evolution that led to the ultimate birth of our cosmos. It is this evolution that reflects the origin and history of souls, according to the teachings of Rabbi Luria. Isaac Luria taught his students orally and left little authentic written material behind. His works were recorded by his students, Joseph ibn Tabul, and especially Hayim Vital. Luria's gift of vision became so acute that, in the year before his death, he confessed that he could read people's souls. Hayim Vital writes, "On Rosh Chodesh Adar in the year 1571, he told me that he began to attain his comprehension, souls, when he was in Egypt. There he was told to come to the city of Safed, because I, Hayim, was living there in order to teach me. He also told me that he was not required to teach any person other than myself, and when I will have learnt, there will be no reason for him to remain in this world. He told me that the essence of my soul was on a higher plane than numerous very exalted angels, and I would be able to ascend with my soul, by means of my deeds, higher than the firmament of the seventh heaven, too." The greatest part of Isaac Luria's cosmogony unfolds in non-material realms long before creation itself and the world as we know it. It moves from the absolute, Ensof, to a primal space, Tehiru, in God's own experience, which contains His infinite reflections during each moment of creation and at every level of reality of all worlds, and finally moves to the most unbalanced sanctum within this space, which comprises the material world and its attendant attributes as we know it today. Clip-off. The drama of creation is a religio-psychic odyssey nested in God's very self. It begins with unity and connected harmony, non-material fullness, total self-possession and inwardness, and concludes with the ontological presentness of today: plurality, disunity, distraction in matter, and dispossessed selves in external worlds of exile. His cosmogony is truly an open-ended one, because the creation is a work in progress toward restitution, rikun, whereby all subjects of creation work to return things to their proper place so that creation's original plan can continue. 3. The world continues in the midst of a breach or interruption of the Creator's original intention, and mankind must help to bring things right again, since the true world drama of creation is on hold. According to Isaac Luria and his school, God did not choose to make the world as we know it, but through successive crises in the Godhead caused by imperfection inherent in the nature of creation, all phenomena devolve to a continually emerging struggle between unity, transcendental inner self, and chaos in matter, corporeal beings, the radical fidelity of Tikun, each creature's contemplation of heart and works, and its applications of power upon the inner universes of creation through successive lifetimes with God, will return his image, Shekinah, to her true place in unity with God again. The eternal Sabbath will be regained, and the realm of matter will be abandoned. Events are intra-godly images that project onto a dimensionless scale. They lie far beyond common existence in a higher objective reality. Characters are neither male nor female. This duality takes form only after events degenerate to the fall of Adam during Luria's last act of creation 4. Isaac Luria taught creation under 3 central themes: Tzimtzum, contraction; Shevirat HaKelim, breaking of the vessels; and Tikun, repair. But it is Tikun that embodies the essence of his entire teaching. Tzimtzum is the idea that God withdrew upon himself or shrank himself to make a void in which to create. Breaking of the vessels is the event that dramatizes the discontinuity or imperfection that necessarily exists between the creator and created in such a void, yet binds them together with the moral imperative that has one supra-ultimate conclusion: Tikun. Creation must be flawed because, if that which was created were perfect, then it would be the Godhead itself. Hence, Adam Kadmon, the first archetypical God-humanity created in the void outside of the Absolute, must necessarily be imperfect, and yet must also reflect the fullest image of the Divine One. Breaking of the vessels brought catastrophe and discord into the void, Tehiru, place that no longer contains the Godhead's full presence, and that lies outside of his full control. Since the Godhead created Adam Kadmon, it also caused the very imperfection in him that led to his failure. The same follows for Adam as well. Every creature bears the mark of its inheritance from creation, and therefore from God himself. 5. Imperfection and evil are a byproduct of creation at the hands of the perfect Creator. Blame can fall on neither the creator nor the creature, but on the innocence of becoming that separates them profoundly. It is creation itself. Tikun is their reconnection. It is the mystical medium that binds the old harmony with its fallen creatures. The sacred sheen that fell with Adam and saturated lower worlds joins again with God through the good acts of his own blind, outer world, but illuminated inner potentialities, creatures. The divine sparks can be redeemed through ethical and religious deed 6. The present world continues as part of this process, and the Creator's most profound imperative, Tikun, is that deepest and still unfulfilled longing that wells in mankind's very core, and has done so even before the twilight of his birth. The history of humanity's innermost worlds is far older than the present creation and its ontology. Its medium lies beyond its concerns in the worlds of Sephirot, divine emanations. It is within these worlds that Isaac Luria and his students describe the inner history of mankind's soul. C.G. Jung's Tiefenpsychologie confirmed what had already been known among the Kabbalists for centuries. The soul possesses a historical taxonomy, and its oldest hierarchies lie in the subconscious mind. Judah Liebes rightly points out that academic methodology has tended to bypass this critical phase of the development of his system, the part that touches the soul. The rest of the RE's ontological teaching served as a mere introduction to this matter, which has not been properly recognized by previous scholars. The reason why they did not ... is because they did not stop to ask themselves what might have been the religious interest that is reflected in the Ari's writings. Instead, they looked for answers for abstract issues in Lurianic Kabbalah, issues defined a priori as those presumed to be the most important. 8. Tzimtzum, concentration, folding in, is probably one of the most powerful ideas ever to be taught in Kabbalistic mysticism. Even to this day, it is unlikely that it has been understood fully enough to be absorbed into the modes of thought of this age, because its sheer otherworldliness and multilateral meaning are too difficult and refractory for the modern mind to absorb. If Tzimtzum is to be understood, fully understood, It must be lived each day while the mind is focused inwardly and mystically while looking away from the world and its externa. The act of Tzimtzum is not only the first creative act to form the pre-all, but it stretches to this very moment as the mystical dialectic that alternates between the transcendental, divine, and vulgar self. The roots of potentiality that make up the essence of God rested in the transcendental and dimensionless expanse of Ein Sof. Even the metaphysical origins of evil, the roots of judgment and powers of severity, lay in full harmony and balance within these eternities, pre-existent, latent, and yet gravid with the pervasive harmony of Ein Sof. Unnus. And behold, this enigma is very deep. It almost endangers the person who examines it carefully. The upper light diffuses eternally. This light that radiates eternally is called Al Sof. It cannot be grasped in thought nor principle. It is abstracted and separated from all thought, and it existed before all that was ever emanated or created. 9. God sent a beam of light, like a thin ray, from Ein Sof into the Tehiru. This light developed into the first divine being of the Tehiru, Adam Kadmon, and by way of this line there continues and spreads the light of Ein Sof beneath, and in that empty space he emanated, created and made the entirety of all the worlds. And this line, like one thin pipe in which it spreads and continues from the seas of the upper light of Ein Sof to the worlds which are in the place of higher realms, and that void, 10. So this light does not just spread and continue throughout the worlds, it must withdraw itself again if these worlds are to continue their existence. This pulse forms the fabric of creation and the physiology of sepirotic worlds described in Vital's Etz Haim. Tzimtzum is far more than a discrete and static event whereby the Godhead contracted and withdrew itself in order to make a void in which to create. It is an eternally repeating event that connects the Godhead with every creature during the evolving progression of a divine creative moment. The upper light moves to lower worlds, then departs, thereby leaving a closing impression upon them. 11. The ineffable participates fully and fluently with divine pervasiveness. It moves from the light of Ein Sof into the inner worlds at every level, and, if harmony is broken, it flows back again. Eliyahu Klein sums up emanations as, the process of light in two stages. Inner light descends, enveloping light ascends. 12. In one instant, the primal space is filled with divine intention and living presence, Peleoma. In the next instant, it withdraws and leaves it as an abyss once more, only slightly different because it has been changed by the impression that had filled it previously. God's eternal act of creation begins from this point onward. God creates into the Tehiru by filling it with divine emanations and active intelligence, and then withdraws these potentialities again, since creation can only be possible without the total presence of God. Otherwise, the Tehiru would return to Ein Sof again. Everything in the Tehiru carries influences of double motion, of the continually self-renewing Tzimtzum. According to Isaac Luria, it is this dynamic exchange and the progressive results of its eternally changing moment of the personality of God among the inner universes of every creature that will ultimately reunite with creation or efface and separate the powers of Din that pervade in Tehiru and thereby rejoin Creator with created. Tzimtzum is the systolic-diastolic pulse of the ineffable that changed and exiled itself, disrupted the harmony of the Abso, Lut, and continues to do so at each moment as it creates into this very ontological moment, 13, creation and Din, the judging power, is that most vital element that has made and continues to make in each moment of Tzimtzum creation possible. By its very nature, it is also the foundation for the potentiality of all evil in the world. According to Kabbalistic teaching, the truest meaning of judgment is to set limits. Tzimtzum is an act of limitation and self-determination in the Divine One, and so, in its own act to create, it limits itself, And, if one takes the meaning of creature to be a limited being, God becomes as a creature in order to participate in creation. Not only does the Godhead limit itself, but every creature must necessarily be inferior to its Tzimtzum limited creator. The body of Elohim descends at times into the worlds. Dadan. It is adorned and dressed in clothes to coquette in front of her husband, and it says, "See what I do, and the developments that I have made." 14. Rilke expressed this transcendent meaning inimitably. Angel, to you I will show it there. In your endless vision it stands now, finally upright, rescued at last. Wasn't all this a miracle? Be astounded, angel, because we are this, O Great One, ... We have not failed to make use of these generous spaces, these spaces of ours. How tremendously deep they must be, the millennia do not yet make them overflow with our feelings. 15. As imperfect subjects of creation, all bear the weight of din and its potential for imbalance and severity during existence. In a deep sense, the potential of all evil is based on din and lies hidden in the act of Tzimtzum itself. But just as much as din lies at the root of imperfection and ultimate suffering with evil in the material world, it must also be the saving grace. God created the world that sustains itself through strict law, din, and seeing that it could not exist under this severity alone, God balanced it by including chesed, grace, and love in creation. To live under strict limits, self-determination, and sacrifice while balanced with love opens the path to reconciliation with God, rikun. There is an even deeper meaning behind God's self-negation and exile in the act of Tzimtzum. The Divine One limits itself to create during a divine moment, and, during this interval, it becomes less perfect for a more perfect good. It gives of itself, godless, and thereby becomes more godful. God's ever-sacrificing and exiled presence is shared with the innermost being of each creature, and sustains each moment in its self-determined fullness as part of the mystical progression in the greater good of creation. The Divine One exiles itself to touch its exiled creatures. Isaac Luria and his students understood the ineffable connection between creator and created, a transcendent kinship of God with God-humanity, entangled in spiritual struggle, evolving toward mutual reabsorption of each into the other. And long before the cosmos and light of day, deep in the primal space of the pre-all, these intragodly experiences formed the most profound tendencies of the structure of souls. The corridors of the soul lead through exile, alienation and suffering, with self-sacrificing, unfulfilled longing toward reunion and repair, rikun. The fallen God, this lost and elusive presence, will finally rejoin the Father, illumined. Marie-Louise von Franz, a student of C.G. Jung, cites the following passage, attributed to Thomas Aquinas, quoting Senior in Aurora Consurgens. There is one that never dies, because it sustains itself in steady increase when the body will be transfigured in the final resurrection of the dead. ... Then the second Adam will say to the first Adam and to his children, "Come, O you blessed ones of my Father." 16. According to Luria, every creature feels the absence, emptiness, and mark of imperfection that must necessarily be handed on to it. The ultimate calling in this lifetime, or in future lifetimes, is to reharmonize, and hence remove, inherent imperfections through proper heart and works among all creatures, rikun. But such an existential calling is not easily heard. To pass through old doors to the inner self brings on the symptomology of ancient malaise of the soul, 17.1. One has only to press on through the density and lassitude of existence and to hope. The roots of judgment and powers of severity, Dinu, were invisible and latent in Ein Sof, simply because they were unnecessary in the absolute totality of God's presence. In Tehiru, however, Dinu longer rests in harmony nor in balance. Tehiru is a place where God is no longer totally present and where severity and judgment destabilize and devolve to evil whenever their potential is externalized, breaking of the vessels. The worlds of Sephirot. In Kabbalistic teaching, a Sephirah, plural Sephirot, is any of the 10 potentialities or emanations through which the Divine One manifests its existence in each moment. Din is merely one of these potentialities. The active God appears as the dynamic unity of the Sephiroth. The Sephiroth are the potentialities in which the active God is constituted and in which he achieves his face. The hidden face of God, Anpin Penima, is the interceding moment of life of God that faces us, but in spite of all its hiddenness, still takes form. His life is expressed on 10 levels, each of which absconds and discloses. It streams outwardly and animates creation, but at the same time it remains profoundly within, and the secret rhythm of his moment, his pulses, is the law of motion of every creature. 18. Kabbalists experience the Shevirat world as the one true world, and as a mystical body that is superimposed upon the external world. The inner life of all creatures, born and unborn, flourished at one time within Adam Kadmon, but now, for all who exist in the blind medium of the present, it lives banished to the most profound depth of each self in the inner world of one's most hidden being. 19. The entire Sephiroth world is contained in each such inner world, and its life is experienced in Adam Kadmon. Creation forms a corpus mysticum in the material and Kadmonic worlds. The key element that superfuses this oneness in the Sephiroth world is the 10th Sephira, Shekhinah or Malhut. It is as radical as it is remarkable, because without it, not a single moment of creation would be possible. The 10th Sephira is the most humble and lowest of all of the Sephira. Malhut was the tail to the lions at the end of Atzilut. Afterward it descended, and is the head of foxes. Her feet go down to death. There among the shells. Sparse light comes to her. 20. She is a poor and disabled figure, consigned to darkness, dependent upon higher radiance for strength and survival, and trapped in Kelipa Noga, realm of matter. Her upper aspect is Bina, the active feminine element that creates among the worlds. Malchut does not have discernibly divine qualities like the other 9 Sephirotet, will, wisdom, insight, love, etc., but it somehow has the same hidden qualities of Ein Sof itself. It possesses nothing, but yet has everything. It receives the qualities of the other 9 Sephirat, and from the depth of its mystery, it shares with all who live within its sovereignty. It yields and retreats, yet touches every living creature. It is the eternally effeminate, the displaced and active God in the world. Shevirat HaKelim damaged the Shekinah and separated her from her counterpart Zeir Anpin, creative power. This separation symbolizes the guilt and the rift between the outer and inner worlds. Shekinah and Zeir Anpin were merged in perfect radiance in the inner worlds of the Godhead until the rift. Malkut is like a murky gem. It is a window pane of lapis specularis that has no brightness, ispaklaria delonahara. It is poor compared to the other Sephirot, because it only receives light, and unlike the other Sephirot cannot retain the light's own impression within itself. 21. Creation and this world have been diverted to a new channel for the moment, and until the Shekinah rejoins with her counterpart again, full and fluent creation cannot move through all worlds as before. The Sephira Yesod delivers light and abundance to Malchut from the upper Sephirot. The Shekinah represents the place of the psyche as well as God's active presence everywhere. It is the hidden yet disclosing image of God. The unfolding of God is called He in the most hidden of his manifestations, when he is about to give himself a push toward creation, as it were. God, who in the total unfolding of his being, grace and love, who is attainable at the bottom of our hearts, and thus to whom we can speak, is called You. But God, in the most extreme of his manifestations, in those circumstances where the totality of his being is affected again in the final and most comprehensive of his attributes, is called I. This is the level of the real individuation in which God says I, as a person to himself. That is, according to the Kabbalists, one of the most important and deepest teachings, the Shekinah, the present and immanent God of all of creation. 22. Adam Kadmon and the first breaking of the vessels. Sephirot are vessels for the light of Ein Sof, which is in them. They are like the garments for the light of Ein Sof, and form the external shapes, vessels of this light that gives specific characteristics to each divine emanation when light spreads to the lower worlds. The light of Ein Sof forms the light of Adam Kadmon, and he is the inner being of the Sephirot. The world of emanation is the vessel for Adam Kadmon. 23. Therefore, a vessel is a reality that has the quality of revelation. It mediates or transmits between one reality and another. When the thin ray of light moved into the Tehiru, it assumed the mystical shape of Adam Kadmon. Light issued from his head and body to form harmonious and unified higher worlds, TW24. But this divine equilibrium was soon to be broken by that which emanated from his eyes. Each of the 10 points of light that exited the eyes of Adam Kadmon was cloaked in its own characteristic vessel. They generated the Sephirotic worlds. The vessels that possessed Tikkun sustained their lights and lived. The vessels without Tikkun shattered and died. 25. Each Sephirah hypostasized independently, disconnected from the whole. They transmitted blindly from his eyes as atomized points and as a negative plurality, and therefore as non-integrated, separate entities apart from the divine unity of this creation. As divine emanations formed in the lower vessels, Dain was concentrated in the vessels to such an extent that the tension between it and divine lights caused them to break. The Sephirot separated from each another dot because the universe was created by judgment, which is fear, 26, the emanations, or vassals, that were created to clothe, sustain, and give the light-specific characteristics, failed. Vessels without tikkun shattered because they could not bear the impression caused by their lights. Only the vessels of the 3 highest Sephirah survived. The last Sephirah, Malchut, Shekinah, survived, but was damaged. This was the most profound crisis of all living phenomenon, Shevirat HaKelim, breaking of the vessels. Adam Kadmon's atomized points are symbols that point toward a greater meaning, of an outer world in conflict with inner worlds, moving toward a new state of being. His state of mind was without Tikkun 27, inflexible, rigid, and disunified. Lights clashed with the harmonious lights from the upper worlds. Cataclysmic disharmony descended through the primal space. This disharmony awakened all slumbering din, which in turn activated the potentiality for evil. The resultant energy from the clash of these emanations transformed the nature of the primal space from one of unity to one with 2 extremes that proceeds from the highest inner realm, Adam, Kadmon, and moves progressively through all worlds to the lowest externalized realm of matter, Klepoth. While most energy from the clash of emanations returned to higher worlds, some dispersed into the realm of matter and is of 3 forms. 1. Sparks from divine light, menes, vessels with impressions of divine light remaining on them, Sephirot 410. 2. Sparks from the inner world of Adam Kadmon. 3. Din. Aroused din and disharmony generated by shattered vessels, chards or shapes of energy attracted to outer realms. Every element of creation, from the creator to the most insignificant pre-cosmic subparticle, bore the mark of this catastrophe. The rich, deep glow of divine sparks shone through the pre-cosmic dust, all deeply and tragically intermixed, that would eventually evolve to form the slag of Klipoth, and thereby set the stage for the appearance of humankind. That would evolve from the wreckage of this Sephirotic world. The great flood, like breaking of the vessels, as great abundance of water on the earth, ... like the increase of lights that fell on the Malkut. 28. Creation, split into inner and outer realms. The 10th Sephirah, Shekinah, torn apart from the undifferentiated unity in the inner world and trapped in the outer world, remains as the indwelling of each being as the exiled realm of God. All Sephirat worlds in the Tehiru have been altered. The fabric of existence is pulled between 2 poles, like a conflict of ontologies between clarity and chaos. Sparks from divine light, Din and pre-matter wrestle to evolve in the thick, swollen world of Qliphoth, while higher worlds work to rebalance them again. In order to stay in step with Lurianic teaching, it is important to stress that Lurian did not depict breaking of the vessels as the first such catastrophe of its kind to occur. He taught rather that it should be viewed as part of a process of creation's clarification and reharmonization in evolution, so that all worlds and realities will reflect each other more brightly and more fluently in God. Successive upheavals of such magnitude are necessary and resolve themselves under the ineffable's stabilizing and rebuilding influence. Every potentiality and the roots of evil, neglected dark corners of En Sof that contain residue of divine Sephirotic activity, will ultimately regenerate into the harmony and fullness of the Divine One. The doctrine of Tikkun requires the restoration of the inner and outer cosmos. Repair of previous worlds, the kings of Eden. Isaac Luria's idea of breaking of the vessels and its role in the evolving process of creation originated from an event described in detail in Idra Rabbah and Idra Sutta of the Zohar. There was at one time a destruction of worlds that occurred before the creation of our own cosmos. These worlds were given freedom to develop under the influences of God, but their inhabitants, the kings of Edom, were possessed with excessive severity and consequently broke apart and were destroyed. Lack of harmony between male and female, love and severity, degenerates unity that sustains life and ultimately causes destruction of the world. Spiritual vestiges from previously failed worlds lay as dead in the Sephirotic wreckage. They had fallen to its lowest realm and represent passive, being in a place where the feminine principle of strict judgment rules and where everything sags under the resistance and lassitude of matter. Such a place is for the rearing and uplifting of guilty souls, who have come from the ruins of older worlds to bear the yoke of matter. Souls work to unite Malhut feminine with Zir Anpin masculine through good deeds to uplift the sparks and thereby purify their world. 29. They are born again continually in lower levels of creation, so that they might serve divine judgment in this way. At this point in Luria's cosmogony, it is up to God to repair the destruction of his new creation and to regenerate the dead kings of older worlds as part of his unfolding. The vessels, ... were born without tikkun, shattered and died to create external shells. External shells are necessary in the world to reward the good and righteous and to punish the wicked, who were later created, ... and behold, the contraction was din. It destroyed so that it could repair. 30. The roots of evil, residual elements of Sephirotic activity and lost Sephot from shattered worlds, Edom, brought on by hypertrophy of Din, took full form to see the face of God. The orphan darkness joins the unfolding of creation so that all worlds will reflect each other more completely and radiantly within the divine will. It is as if the Godhead exercised discipline of mind to absorb its own spiritual readjustment and clarification through an ordeal, a sort of catharsis day, in order to mitigate and reintegrate negative, pre-existent elements in itself. In millennia hence, when creatures populate lower worlds, inner longing toward reunion and meditations toward this lost harmony will be the deepest secret of every living moment. All phenomena and the meaning of each inner world occur according to the secret law of Tikkun. Our cosmos came about from the moral imperative of a defaulted process and ... it represents a crisis in the divine life which disturbed the original harmony and diverted the intended development from its path so that it now oscillates between destruction and restoration, descent and ascent. 31. And while we are the subjects of the moral imperative that sprang from this process, Isaac Luria taught that souls and cosmos originated from the realm of Lucifer. See Figures 5.13, glimmering that one is fully redeemable with or without contemplation or Sephirotic reflection. 32. God and repair, of the first breaking of the vessels. To this point, creation has evolved in the mind of God, and events have been of the spirit, but now Shekinah and divine. Lights have been trapped in the wide universe of matter, mixing and warming in questionable coexistence. The roots of other worlds, Potentialities of beings that would spring from this coexistence and would live partitioned in material exile are active. While divine inner realms lay deeply hidden, outer confused worlds drifted deeper into the clutches of matter and disorder. The rhythm of the Sephirot seeks to reharmonize and to heal, but is now incomplete. The Tehiru has been transformed into the world of chaos. Sephirot are not connected. Male and female no longer live in primal, undifferentiated unity as before. Both must now enter upon a new plane and must manifest themselves under new aspects. The Divine One seeks to mend, to atone for rifts of the past, as Adam Kadmon strives to reintegrate all worlds and to restore the original unity that was ruined by breaking of the vessels. Adam Kadmon mended the worlds, emanating a new light that would cleanse the sparks of their dross. His image reflected a deeper unity, so that each Sephirah reflected a face of God, parts 1 through 3, a particular aspect of God's personality, to inner worlds of all creation. While the worlds of Sephiro still move under the pulse of Tzimtzum, the 10 Sephiro join together to mesh more fully. With the poor state of disturbed worlds shaken by Shevirat HaKelim, the 5 countenances are 1. Crown or divine, will, arich, anpin. The patient one, Partzuf of Keter, Sephira 1. The heaven 2. Father, Abba, Partzuf of Chochma, Sephira 2. 3. Mother, Ima, Partzuf of Bina, Sephirat 3. 4. Creating God, Ze Zair Anpin, the impatient one, Partzufim of Chesach, Din, Tiferet, Nesach, Hod, Yasod, Sephirot 4-9, 5. Indwelling Nukva, Rachel and Leah, Partzuf of Malchut, Shekinah, Sephira 10. Each Partzuf is composed of 2 forces, masculine, Chesh, giving limitlessly, and feminine, Din, limitation of masculine abundance. Zia, Anpin, and Nukva shine into the Keli pot because their origins are there. They shine into the Keli pot and give it spiritual life in the secret of 11 ingredients of incense, 34. They give vital soul, nefesh, libido, to the earth. In the sun, Zeir Anpin is the sun, his sheath is Nukva, she cloaks his severe judgments. 35 CG. Jung notes, the sun reflects the visible God of this world, and it is the vital force of our own soul that we call libido, and its essence is to bring forth right and wrong, good and evil. The unceasing prerogative of the libido is to project itself onto the cosmos. 36. Zeir Anpin and Nukva are Elohim, the upper Adam. The Partzufim healed the Sephiratic worlds. Satzilut, emanation, Biriah, creation, Jezira, forming, and Asiya, making. They ascended to Atzilut, thanks to the unifying power of the Partzufim. But Shelds, Klipputh, still lay in the way of reconciliation between outer and inner worlds. There is a living collective consonance that reflects fluently among the forming worlds of creation, form and angelics, under the realm of Shekinah, bounded by the world of emanation. But they live in precarious balance. It is now up to Adam to liberate the remaining sparks from the lowest realm, Klippoth. Adam and the second breaking of the vessels. Adam was a spiritual being that lived among multi-existences in divine inner consciousness, Mohim of Elohim within the 4 worlds. He was comprised of all souls that were part of the 6,000 years that would form our world. His limbs we remade from these souls. 37. His task was a daunting one, in spite of the disorder and severity that so complicated the realm of matter. Adam had to free the divine sparks. But just as much as Adam Kadmon failed to sustain unity with God at the spiritual level, Adam did the same at the anthropomorphic level. And as Adam Kadmon sought to reunify the disharmony, scattered sparks caused by his failure through Tikkun, Adam scattered them again in his own attempt. The totality and fervor of Adam's meditations and spiritual actions failed, and he fell, as did countless sparks and souls from higher worlds with him, broken to pieces into the material world of Klippoth. It is in this way that Adam passed the sacred imperative of Tikkun to mankind. When he sinned, the souls vanished from him because shells, external forces, took control of him. The remnants of these souls shed from him and fell into the depths of matter. Just as Adam Kadamon's imperfection resulted in the first Shevirat HaKelim, Adam's resulted in the second. And when the souls that were in Adam fell into matter, they mingled among the four winds of the world and took his dust. Each of the 70 officers of the nations of the world is in the realm of matter and took his part. Footnote: Adam, 39, mystics and alchemists of the Middle Ages confirmed these secret teachings of the Kabbalah in their own visions of divine truth. The second Adam is there, in matter, transfigured into eternity. From these Latin treatises, it is clear that the latent, hidden demiurge that sleeps in matter is identical with Homo philosophicus, the second Adam. He is the higher spiritual humanity, the Adam Kadmon, ... Although the first Adam was mortal, ... The second Adam is immortal because he consists of a pure, imperishable essence, 40. The state of souls is linked inexorably with that of the fragmented disunity of Adams. And now, behold what damage was done by his sin. Adam's body was from the world of Yetzirah, but only his spirit resides there now. His existence is strewn among various levels, and his body and lower soul are now in this world, the world of Ashia. These things caused much spoilage among the world's 41. The worlds descended, and Asiya mixed so completely with Klipoth that they joined. Mankind, composed of matter and spirit, evolved from this resultant new world. The divine degeneration that proceeded from the Godhead, Tzimtzum, through Adam Kadmon, Shevirat HaKelim, and Adam Shevirat HaKelim, now faces mankind with a real and terrifying challenge that has only one solution. The intensity of Lurianic demands is most unusual. A person who accepts this worldview and the ethical and religious consequences of the idea of tikkun must always be under enormous pressure. Every mundane or apparently unimportant deed may carry endless cosmic meaning. A spark freed by charity now may be the last and only one, and the completion of the deed may bring forth the redemption immediately. Ethical demands, therefore, assume an intensity of cosmic meaning and symbolical significance never before achieved in any Jewish ethical system. 42. Adam and the fall of divine consciousness. What did the breaking apart and fall of Adam mean? While breaking of the vessels signified outer worlds in conflict with inner worlds that were moving toward a new state of being, the outer world of plurality, the breaking apart of Adam signified the new state of being that had finally arrived. Ontological consciousness. When Adam was created, Ze'i Anpin's divine inner consciousness, Mohin, only came from the side of Ima, located in his Keter. He was created to repair the upper worlds through good deeds. And behold, while Adam was repairing Zeir Anpin and his Nukva, he wanted to fix Zeir Anpin's Keter that was then very small. Adam wanted to increase the size of his Keter. But this small size was necessary, because it awaited its proper increase of size from divine inner consciousness of Abba. The sin of eating from the tree of knowledge symbolizes the grasping of external forces that entered before Abba's divine consciousness could enter into Zeter Anpin's Keter so that it would abrogate their grasping. 43. All sin lay in the desire to increase the Keter of Zeir Anpin before its time, that is, before the divine consciousness of Abba could enter. Because he erred, resultant disharmony among Partzufim caused his and the Shekhinah's exile. Knowledge limited to the outer world ensnared the true vision that lay within Adam's grasp. 44. In exchange for knowledge and life unfolding with co-sympathy boundlessly, Adam chose limited knowledge, i.e., ontological consciousness. This is the great flaw. External forces grasp into the very roots of divine inner consciousness and knowledge. They cling to elements of evil. The fall of inner knowledge brought on disturbances that limited grace to flow within it so that it might balance strength and severity. Hence the duality that pervades existence up to this day. Male separated from female, above from below, good from evil, upper waters from lower waters, life from death, tree of life from tree of knowledge, etc. The vessels and Adam were divine instruments to serve creation. Adam was a victim caught in the divine momentum of this descending process toward which mankind is its result and ultimate redeemer. The vessels descended twice. They first descended of themselves because they were not able to bear the great light. They were forced to descend a second time because of the sin of Adam. 46. Mankind must turn from evil, do good, and correct the deficiencies. Therefore, every sin in the outer world repeats the sin of Adam and breaking of the vessels. Its effect resounds throughout divine worlds. The reality of humanity's influence upon the divine is the foundation of foundations of the Kabbalah of the Aryeh. 47. Every deed of healing through Tikun helps to reharmonize all worlds and, ultimately, rejoins the Shekhinah with God. The more certain there is profound darkness, the greater the light will be that will finally overcome it. God and repair of the second breaking of the vessels. Unity of the Godhead has been split. It must enter separately upon this new plane in order to create into the living moment of each creature. Shekhinah and her male counterpart, Zeir Anpin, once formed the face of God, Partzuf in unity. They now make up two realms, Partzuf and Shekhinah. In this realm of existence, God moves into the inner worlds of all creation as the active creating power in the visage of Zeir Anpin, while the Shekhinah receives it for all inner worlds. God's personality is a duality as well as a transcendent unity during each moment of creation. Zeir Anpin is like a human microcosm. When Zeir Anpin ascends, he raises up with him the light that emanated toward his place. ... He is returning and raising these sparks of holiness that have become stagnated. 48. One cannot overestimate the power and fullness of meaning that the personality of God bears upon the hidden soul. Its most redeeming effect occurs when a creature joins this divine event with its own in Tikun. Isaac Luria sought to restore the Partzufim and to channel their inner consciousness, kavanot, through the power of mystical intention, kavanot. Through the practice of kavanot ... the mystic took an active role in bringing together the shattered superstructure, mending the broken vessels. 49. A creature that opens its heart with the genuine fullness of healing and meditation toward God transcends the earthly profanity of prayer and enters into kavanot. Since kavanot is of a spiritual nature, it directly affects spiritual worlds and can be an especially powerful factor. If it is completed by the right person at the right place, the process of restitution of all things to their true place requires ... not only an impulse which originates from God, but also an impulse which originates from the creature's religious action. All true life and every real healing of the breach that pervades the worlds arise from the interrelationship and meeting of the divine and human impulse. 50. Klein writes, everything that is written in the Torah, every act one performs, every act, is an action and principle embedded in the cosmic prehistory of the universe, is embedded in the prehistory of existence. For this reason, every performance of divine commandments and prayer, meditation with kavanah, affects all existence, even pre-existence. 51. The beginning and end, Tikun. Tikun started with Unsof and lives, but only inconclusively, in the inner worlds of all creatures. Its grand scale and timeless momentum can never be absorbed during the snapshot of a single lifetime, and the challenge that it bears upon a being's task in life extends beyond its contemporary and profane concerns, and takes on full meaning only after bearing the weight of many worlds. Reincarnation, Gilgul, is part of the process of Tikun, and Isaac Luria taught that each person's task is to restore one's original spiritual form, while working through many lifetimes to suspend that disharmony in the inner worlds that occurred after breaking of the vessels and the fall of Adam. Every soul has such a primal form within itself that has been affected by the mark of the world, which it must set right and purify. That restitution process is carried out in the events that the Torah condones or forbids in the soul of the human being while the human being restores. the profound spiritual form of its being to its original self again through the fulfillment of the 613 commandments of the Torah, according to an old microcosmic motif of the Talmud, which states that the 613 commandments of the Torah correspond to the 613 parts of the body, 52. Although one might view Tikun as the third and final part of Isaac Luria's ideas on creation, restitution, and the eventual redemption of fallen creatures, it is actually its most universal characteristic and embodies the essence of his entire cosmogony. It has been contained in each moment of creation from the first act of Tzimtzum onward. Much like the movements of a complex classical drama, events cascade tragically and predictably from the divine to the spiritual and finally to the temporal realms, while the same leitmotif and inner structure play themselves out toward the transcendent meaning and redeeming power that leave the dramatis personae transfigured. Every subject of creation suffers from its own innocence of becoming, and must fall or break apart as it strives toward the unity that it has lost. While each creature seeks to atone for the imperfection given to it by creation, God seeks to atone for the creation that caused the imperfection. Tikkun reflects the ineffable meaning of an eternally changing moment of the personality of God that discloses itself to a righteous soul. To God, it is merely the way to the beginning. Tikkun, the way to the end of all things, is equally the way to beginning. The teaching of the secrets of creation and of the unfolding of all things from God becomes, conversely, the teaching of salvation as the return of all things to their original contact with God. Everything that mankind does acts in some way upon this very complex process of tikkun. All phenomenon and all worlds have an outer F as well as an inner F. And accordingly, Luria teaches the outer face of the worlds is determined by religious action and by completion of the commandments of the Torah 53. I, the author, adjure on the great name of God anyone into whose hands these Kabbalistic pamphlets fall that he should read this introduction. If his soul desires to enter the chamber of this wisdom, he should accept upon himself to complete and fulfill all that I write, and the former of creation will testify upon him that to him will not come damage to his body and soul, and to all that is his, and not to others, because of his running after good, and one who comes to purify and come close, first, before everything, fear of GD, to attain fear of punishment, for awe of GD's greatness, that is the more internal fear. He will not attain, except from the maturation of wisdom. Preparing for Kabbalah. His essential involvement in this knowledge should be to eliminate the thorns from the vineyard, for those who engage in this wisdom are therefore called tenders of the field, and certainly the evil shells will be aroused against him, to seduce him and to cause him to sin. Therefore he should be watchful that he not come to sin even unintentionally, so that they will have no relation to him. Accordingly, it is necessary to guard against leniency. 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 Leniency mean Torah, law, for the Holy One, blessed be He, is exacting with the righteous like a thread of hair. For this reason he needs to abstain from meat and wine during weekdays, and he needs to heed the admonition of turn from evil and do good, and pursue peace. Pursue peace. It is necessary to seek peace and not to be demanding in one's home, whether for an insignificant or a significant matter, and certainly a person should not succumb to anger, God forbid. And he needs to distance himself to the ultimate distance, turn from evil. To be cautious in all the details of the commandments, and even the words of the sages, for these are included in the negative commandment, do not stray from the word that I to rectify the damage one has done before one goes to the coming world. To be careful not to get angry even when disciplining his children. In principle, he should not get angry at all. In addition, he needs to be watchful of arrogance, specifically in matters pertaining to his observance of halakha, for the power of arrogance is great, and in this regard, arrogance is a terrible sin. With every pain he suffers, he should examine his deeds and return to Gi. He should also immerse in a mikveh at the necessary time, as soon as possible after any seminal emission, He should also sanctify himself during marital relations so that he should not egoistically/sensually benefit. There should not pass any night where he does not think every night what he did during the day, and he should confess and repent. He should also minimize his business dealings, and if he has no livelihood except through business, he should intend that Tuesday and Wednesday from noon and on, the intention should be that these times are set aside to the service of his Creator. Preparing for Kabbalah. Any speech that is not of a mitzvah and necessary he should refrain from, and even in a matter of a mitzvah he should desist from speaking during prayer. And do good. To awaken at Torah-defined midnight to recite the order of the Tikun Chatzot in sackcloth and ashes and great crying, and with intention fulfill all that comes out of his mouth. And afterwards he should immerse in Torah for whatever time he can be without sleep, and at least a half hour before dawn he should awaken to immerse in Torah study. He should go to the synagogue before dawn, before the obligation of talit and tefillin, to be watchful that he should be one of the first of the 10 men that make a minyan. Before entering the synagogue he should accept upon himself the positive commandment, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself, and only then enter. To complete the hint alluded to in the word tzaddik, tzadi equals 90, dalet equals 4, yud equals 10, kof equals 100, every day that is, 90 amens, 4 kedushot, 10 kaddishes, 100 blessings. Not to interrupt his awareness from tufaleh, the sensations of holiness and consciousness emanating from prayer, except for Amidah and while engaged in Torah study. It is necessary to be wrapped in talit and tefillin when he immerses himself in Torah study during the day and afternoon. To meditate during prayer on the attentions as it is written in Etz Chaim, that he always places before his eyes the divine name, a product of 4, Havaya, Hey-H, Hey-Vai, and he should veer from it, as it is written, I have placed GD before me always. That he meditatively focus while reciting all the blessings, and specifically the blessings before enjoyment, made over eating. In general, his labor in Torah needs to be pardes, and do not think that they will reveal to him secrets of Torah when he is empty of knowledge, as it is written, Etka, he doth give wisdom to the wise. And one needs to be cautious that he not let escape from his mouth anything of this wisdom that he has not heard from a man who is not worthy to depend on, as Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his colleagues have warned. In the beginning, GD created the heavens and the earth. In man himself we also find earth and heaven. The diaphragm, right below the solar plexus, divides the organs of breathing, the respiratory system, from the organs of digestion. In the larger universe, this Karanskat corresponds to the firmament that is spread out over the earth. The diaphragm is thus seen as separating between the more spiritual aspects of the body and the lower, more physical aspects, earth. Above it, the diaphragm. We thus have the heart, the lungs, the brain, etc., while below we have the more corporeal and gross physical. According to this, the upper half of a person is the heavenly half, and the lower half is the earthly half. Man, in this sense, is a miniature world. We see this in the verse, let us make man in our image and in our likeness, Genesis 1:26, wherein the Gidat Tselem refers to soul of man. The soul, in other words, is what the Torah calls the real man. This is seen in another verse that states, do not anoint the flesh of a man, ... The Torah indicates clearly that the clothes are not the man. At the beginning of Shahrei Kedusha, Rabbi Chaim Vital similarly writes, it is known to the masters of the sciences that a person's body is not his essence, but rather a vehicle for his soul. The body is therefore referred to as man's flesh, as in the verse, cover me, my essence, with skin and flesh, and surround me with bones and sinews. Job 10:11. It is also written, Do not anoint the flesh of a man. 30:32. Anatomy of the creation. The inner being is the true self, while the body is merely a garment. In both these verses, we find that the inner being is the true self, while the body is merely a garment with which the soul covers itself while sojourning in this world. At the moment of death, when the soul departs, this garment is removed, and it is clothed in a pure, clean, spiritual garment. It is thus written, "Remove the soiled garments, ... and you shall be clothed in fine robes, Z3. For these fine robes are none other than the rabbinical mantle, rabbanon, or spiritual energy body with which the soul is clothed when it enters the Garden of Eden." Just as a tailor makes a suit of clothes to fit a person's physique, so did the Holy One, blessed be He, make the body as a garment to clothe the soul. And just as a suit is cut and tailored according to the exact proportions of a person's limbs, so did the Holy One make the body according to the pattern of the soul. The body thus has 248 organs/limbs, along with 365 blood vessels that connect them and transport life-giving blood from one to the other, similar to a system of pipes. With regard to the body, the verse states, "Let us make us dat," for indeed the body is made from materials provided by the physical world. The same is partially true of angels. When they descend to our lower world, they too must dress up in a body that conforms to the laws of this material plane. Concerning the ability of angels to dress up in a physical form, the Zohar states, "It has been established, these angels are able to exist in this world because they appear to humans in human form." And if you should ask, how do they transform themselves thus? They transform through many colors. When they are ready to actually descend, they dress up in shoron, take on the molecular structure of V, Earth's atmosphere, and they appear as human. Zohar I-58a. In another place, the Zohar makes an important connection between the way angels descend into our world and the way that we, our souls, ascend into the spiritual dimension. At the moment of death, the spirit separates/divests of the lower soul, nefesh, in order to, lowest level, of the Garden of Eden. The world of Yetzirah, there it clothes itself in the atmosphere of that garden in exactly the opposite manner that the supernal angels clothe themselves in physicality when they descend to this world. Zohar I-81a. These angels are of the level of Ruah, the world of Yetzirah, about whom it is written, "He makes his messenger angels spirits." Ps 104 verse 4. This means that he makes the messenger angels of Yetzirah descend to the world of Asiya, action, the physical world, as messengers. The Ruah spirit of man, on the other hand, goes up from the physical world to the lowest level of the Garden of Eden and wears the garb of that dimension. She, the soul, is refined there and has tremendous pleasure. Anatomy of the creation. This is why the three angels who visited Abraham appeared to eat. The Zohar all cite the famous teaching that one should never deviate from the customs of the place he visits, the Jewish equivalent of "when in Rome, do as the Romans." Concerning Moses, it is written, "He remained there with God for 40 days and 40 nights without eating bread or drinking water," or 34:28, and "I remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights without eating food or drinking water." Line 9. The Midrash asks, is it possible for a human being to go without food and drink for so long and not die, rather? Moshe went up to heaven where there is no food, so he did not eat. The Midrash adds at the end of 47:5, so how did he survive if he didn't eat? He was nourished by the radiance of the divine presence. And do not be surprised, for the angels above that carry the divine throne are similarly nourished from the radiance of the divine presence. Conversely, when the angels descended to Abraham, they seemed to eat and drink. As it is written, "He stood over them and they ate under the tree." The Midrash and Zohar both exclaim, "Do you think that those supernal beings really ate? It only seemed that they were eating. Since angels are fire, the food was consumed as they put it in their mouths. All the while, it seemed that they were eating like normal humans." The same is true of the soul of man. It must dress up in the atmosphere of this world. This explains as well why the verse is spoken in the plural. Let us make ... or. The soul is from the Blessed One. It descends and dresses up in the atmosphere of the worlds. Descends, dresses up in the atmosphere of the worlds. Ator actually dresses down in and through the various atmospheres of each lower world/dimension, each of which contributes another garment which the soul dons as it approaches our gross physical plane of existence. Speaking to these various levels and their angelic inhabitants, GD, thus says, "Let us make a garment for man," i.e. the soul, "with which he will be able to descend into the dimension of Asiya." Man will then be in our image, Be'etzach menu, from the word tselem, referring to the spiritual image of the angels, and in our likeness, in Hebrew, kidemutenu, referring to the physical garments within which they clothe themselves when they enter the atmosphere of this world. We thus see that man consists of two aspects: Adam Elyon, superior man, the soul, and Adam Tacton, inferior man, the body. The 10 Sephirot, the sacred name, the Tetragrammaton, the 4-letter ineffable name of God, YHVH, signifying the eternal and transcendent revelation of God. Arik Anpin, wills existence through all worlds. The patient one, large face. Abba, God the Father, intuitive insight, fully articulated form. Ima, God the Mother, intellectual powers, emotions, creation. Ze'irnpin, light of grace, individual leadership of divine attributes, coexists with, yet is independent of, that which is part of himself, the Nukva. The impatient one, the small face, male counterpart of Nukva. Nukva, true and direct root of created beings. Not connected in existence, yet indivisible window of the soul. In life and spiritual growth with Zer Anpin, female counterpart of Zer Anpin, develops from the Sephira Malchut, the kingdom, the active divine presence within. Adam Kadmon, infinite and purest light of creation. Axilut, deepest immanent world that is closest to the infinite light. World within as a storm of unformed primordial matter, below Axilut. Iria, the spiritual abode of seraphim. Jezera, immanent world whose primordial matter receives form, the spiritual abode of living. Beings mentioned in Ezekiel's vision of the Merkavah. Ashia, immanent world of matter, receiving form from the higher world of Jezera. It is limited by its spiritual and physical dimensions as we see them now in our own cosmos. Yikidah, soul's oneness with ultimate level of consciousness in the Divine One. Cheya, soul's life force within moral consciousness. Nashar, soul's intellect within sustained existence. Ruah, soul's breath within the heart of love and emotions. Nefesh, soul's blood within the body in this world of living beings. Before the study of the Ariya, Rabbi Isaac Luria, may his merit protect us. Amen. Master of the universe, Lord of lords, Father of mercy and forgiveness, we bow before you, God, our God, and God of our fathers. You who have brought us near to your law and to the worship of your divine service, and have given to us a share in the secrets of your holy law and worship of your divine service. What are we, and what are our lives worth, that you give us such a great grace as this? Because of your mysteries, we lay down our supplications before you, so that you might forgive all of our sins and transgressions. And do not let our sins separate us from you. And may it be your will, God, our God, and God of our fathers, that you prepare our hearts to fear and to love you, and may your ears listen to these our words, and may you open our hearts so that they are not denied the secrets of your law. And may our studies be pleasant before the seat of your honor, like the savory smell of a sacrifice, and may you emanate the light of the source of our souls over us during all of our examinations. and let gleam the sacred sparks of holiness among your blessed servants, who receive these your words in the universe. Bestow upon us the goodness and the merit of their fathers, their learning, innocence, and holiness, so that we do not stumble among these holy words. And in their goodness let our eyes be enlightened in what we study, as is written in the words of the kind psalmist of Israel, "Open thou mine eyes that I may behold." This is because God will give wisdom, knowledge, and understanding from his mouth. Let what I say and what I think be pleasing before you, God my rock and my redeemer. Plus, one divine inner consciousness was drawn to Abba and Ima from the crown, Keter. Two divine emanations from Abba and Ima joined in unity, and the 7 kings were born. 3. The kings reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the children of Israel. 4. The secret of everything from the earth lies within the mystery of the kings of the land of Edom. 5. The kings are called points. A point is the kingdom, Malkut. 6. The kingdom was born in the secret of the feminine, which encircles the masculine. 7. The kings were born from what is circular, which is the soul. 8. But they were not united, nor inside of each other, nor together in lines. In the beginning there was no tikkun. The image of these 10 points was the same, as if each point had one lone face. Some were in the image of separate people, each facing his or her own way, without love between them. Their vessels therefore died because they could not endure the light alone and disunited. When the points left Adam Kadmon as he contracted himself, a rift opened, causing a split in his navel. These events relate closely to the death of the kings. 9. Oneness is achieved by way of lines. 10. Before Tikkun was achieved, each king was on the back of the other. 11. Whenever one point is on the back of the other point, each is separated from the other and forms the public domain. 12. Mercy is the right line, severity the left line, and compassion the middle line. 13. The first 3 kings were born with mercy and unity. 14. The 7 lower kings were born without tikkun, one beneath the other. 15. The Idra Rabbah says, "How long must we sit, limited within our own self?" 16. The first 3 kings of Edom did not lack tikkun and did not die. 17. The remaining 7 kings died because they were born with no tikkun at all. 18. Connection causes existence and coming into being. They say that if one takes 10 reeds, each of them may be broken if they are not united. But if one takes only 3, together they will exist and not be broken. 19. Before the unity, Chikun, there was no love in the 10 Sephirot, only fear among them. 20. The Sephirah Malkut is a clouded window that does not shine, exiled from itself. 21. The Sephirot separated from each another, ... because the universe was created by judgment, which is fear. 22. The universe could not continue to exist because the kings perished. God participated in the universe by giving it mercy. It is Teku. 20. The lower 6 points that would form Zeir Anpin exited as the images of the kings of Edom... Among these points is the Nukva, which is called the Earth of Edom. The points were born separated, not in the fashion of lines, each on the back of the other. They are the public domain because there was nothing unique or united in them. 24. After love and uniqueness were given to the Sephirot, the 6 points joined into one image. 25. Tikkun is of the world of emanation. It occurred when 6 separate points conjoined into 3 lines, one with the other in unity, the private domain. 26. This is existence of one base. 27. The 7 kings are the sparks that spewed forth as from a craftsman who pounded with iron tools and brought out sparks with each stroke. 28. Severity and judgment of the powerful descended and made matter, and it is Satan. 29. The kings were broken, lights from within them departed. 30. Their shattered vessels remained behind. 31. Only the impression of 288 sparks remained in the vessels. 32. The 7 kings made the powers of matter and shells. Kelipot. 33. The death of the kings, breaking of the vessels, and the fall caused the Kelipot. 34. This was done so that there would be choice and free will. 35 external shells are needed to reward the righteous and to punish the wicked in the world which was to be soon created. 36. The 288 sparks of the king's dot is found in hidden secrets of the Michnan, the deep treacherous mountains ... that deal in the thickness of matter, in Kelipot, just as the mountains and hills in the secret of strong wind that breaks mountains and rocks, breaks males and females, where the snake crouches, the way of the eagle of the air, the way of the serpent upon the rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, the deceitful, strong, deep mountains are the Kelipah. 37. When judgments unite, they increase endlessly. It is therefore necessary that they do not arise and join forces. Judgment is endless fire, flame and sparks. 38. The kings are the Hebrew letters and the vessels. 29. The flood is the image of the breaking of the vessels, the abundance of water on the earth, like the abundance of the lights that fell on the kings. 40. There was tikkun for the first 3 kings, they were not broken. When the 7 lower kings were in the womb of the mother, they existed in the image of female waters, which stirs the upper union of emanations. When the 7 lower kings exited from the mother, they were the 7 kings who ruled in the land of Edom. They wanted shelter in their vessels. The vessels could not tolerate this. They broke and died. 41. The secret says, now the earth was unformed and void. G. Since the earth is the very last hay of the, tetragrammaton. It is therefore in the aspect of the I, ... It is unformed and void, and this is regarding the death of the kings until their tikkun comes. 42. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. 43. The 7 kings drew their light from the body of Adam Kadmon. 44. O my God, incline your ear and hear. Open your eyes, and behold our desolations, and the city upon which your name is called. For we do not present our supplication before you because of our righteousness, but because of your great compassions. See our desolation. There was great desolation and the death of the kings. 45. The secret of death. 1.1. The one is separated and uprooted from one's own world, gone to another world below. It is like the death of the 7 kings, who ruled in the land of Edom and fell below into the world of creation. This is called death. 46. Humanity needs the blessings from the upper ones, so for strength. The upper ones need help from the lower ones. The upper worlds descend and live within lower levels to help and to purify the 7 kings. 47. The images of the 7 kings form, Adam from his head to his feet, that sink into the Kelipot. And when sparks are purified and ascend, then all of mankind will be purified, and the Messiah will come. 48. In order to have free will, desire, reward, and punishment in the world, God created the kings and let them die. 49. The 10 martyrs are the 10 drops that were thrown from the nails of Joseph. ... These 10 drops clothe their souls. These clothes, not their souls, are called the bodies of the 10 martyrs and are the garments of the rabbis. This world forms the remnants that were not purified from the kings, and they are the secret of the 320 sparks that were thrown from the upper thought. They are good and evil. The tree of knowledge is the remnants that were not purified from the kings, who are ... the sparks which they were thrown from the upper thought. 50. The kings died because neither male nor female had been created. They were drawn from above, from divine consciousness, the upper thought, without the feminine, the nukva. This was all before the tikkun. before Atika Kaddish received Tikkun and evolved into male and female. The kings are drops of nocturnal emission, called sparks. 51. Understand this marvelous secret. The higher souls of the 10 martyrs were clothed in the garment of the rabbis, and this garment is their inner body, made from nocturnal emission. 52. They are the secret of the tree of knowledge, good and evil. Their souls are for holiness. They are like the lights of the vessels of the kings. Their bodies, however, are the robes of the rabbis. They are from Sitra Ahara, of the tree of knowledge, like the vessels of the kings. 53. The vessels broke and descended to the place of death, in the secret of the tree of knowledge. Then the bodies that were from these vessels were fated to die, so that they might be purified of the drosses that were in them. The drosses that had been in these bodies were purified by death, and they became good. They then ascended, returning to the upper thought again, to that place from which they had previously fallen, to the place where the vessels of the kings had also ascended in the secret of female waters, so that they might be purified among the Partzufim in Atzilut. 54. Their souls were completely righteous, good and not evil. Sitra Ahara did not rule in these souls. But their bodies were formed from the tree of knowledge, and the Sitra Ahara therefore ruled in these bodies. She comes from rust and waste that is on the back of the gold. They thus ascended and were purified in the aspects of male and female waters, as is known, until Abba and Ima join to form life again. 55. The worlds of Atzilut, Beriah, Yetzirah, and Asiyah became pure through the purification of the kings. The most superior is Atzilut. The worst of the dross from Atzilut is in Beriah. Beriah was made from it, and in this manner Yetzirah was formed. And so also Asiyah was formed from the dross, and in this way Asiyah was formed. The worst that was not able to be purified remained within the secret of Kelipa. They are very harsh judgments, unable to be purified of their drosses, and still there remained sparks of holiness behind, inside the Kelipot. These are the 11 ingredients of incense. 56. And likewise in Atzilut. Attic benefited from the most select purification. Then Arik Anpin benefited lesser, and such benefit of this purification continued with gradual diminishment in each sephira contained in each Partzuf. The last detail. 57. The purified sparks ascend from the place to which they had fallen and enter the womb of Nukva. They tarry and are sweetened there during this time of conception and become like a Partzuf. 58. The kings ruled before the children of Israel and before the Tikkun that they must inherit. 59. The children of Israel are called kings because they are the children of kings, from the kingdom of Adam Kadmon, and they shall be so until the glory of the King of Life. This king is the foundation of Adam Kadmon, the drop of whiteness. 60 Zeir Anpin and Nukva are the last two letters of the tetragrammaton Yod-He, Vav-He, YHVH. 61. They are separate from Abba and Ima, who are the first two letters, Yod-He. 62. And behold, in the time of exile, ... there is no complete name, tetragrammaton, since Zeir Anpin and Nukva are only the last two letters, Vav, He. 63 Zeir Anpin and Nukva descend below. 64 Zeir Anpin and Nukva shine into the Kelipot because their origins are there. 65 They shine into the Kelipot and give it life in the secret of the 11 ingredients of the frankincense. These ingredients are the life of the Kelipot. 66 They are the life of the Kelipot, and its breath of life is drawn from the two letters Vav and He of the tetragrammaton. 67 Zecha, Anpin and Nukva ascend to the world of Atzilut, and join with Abba and Ima, Yod and He of the tetragrammaton. The 11 ingredients of the frankincense, the life of the Kelipot, flow from Vav and He and ascend to them as well. It is in this way that the Kelipot is vanquished. 68. Then the upper name. The tetragrammaton is made complete. 69. The secret of death... means the alienation of a thing and its uprootedness from its own world. It is without direction, without guidance, as worlds beacon from below. It is like the death of the 7 kings who ruled in the land of Edom and fell into creation. 70. The kingdom is really the 7 kings. 71. Whoever goes from world to world and is separated from his world wanders in death. 72. The 7 kings died. Their vassals descended to the world of creation. The kings are now Zeir Anpin and Nukva. Abba and Ima suffered but did not die. Their sacred powers that extend to the worlds were broken. They descended below to the world of Atzilut. 73. There was spoilage for the sake of fixing and destruction for the sake of rebuilding. 74. It is forbidden to expand upon these things and to utter them. A discerning person will understand. 75. The image of female waters is about the holy souls. These souls are within the kings of Edom. They must be purified so that they will ascend in the female waters. Then male waters will join with them. Male and female waters join in the language of knowing, and within these images, higher souls are formed and created. 76. Zeir Unpin and Nukva form the divine face of Adam in righteousness. 77. The principle of circles was also established for them because they are the image of the spirit, which establishes the soul. 78. In the time of divine conception, i.e. the Tikun, the kings were clarified and purified in the secret of birth, reincarnation, inside of the circles of Abba and Ima. 79 circles were created that did not break a second time. 80. In the cells of the spleen is blackness, existence without legs. These cells are as the purifications of the kings, as the measure of one who is lame, stump-legged, and who goes forth into the world. This is the secret of the snake, whose legs were cut off. Upon your belly shall you go. Genesis 3:14. 1. In turning the snake on its back, one envisions the secret of the flaming sword that turns every which way like a body that has been torn to pieces. 82.1 discusses deceitful, strong, deep mountains. They are Kalipa. 83. They are the slag of the gold, like the waste of judgments. 84. There in the Kilipot there is the darkness without legs. It is glimmering matter. 85. The depths of the sea are the remnants of the purifications of the drosses of the kings. 86. The remnants of the kings are a land of drought and the shadow of death, male and female. 87. The 7 are kingdom. In the kingdom they did not exit. 88. In the time of Tikun, the 8th king, Hadar was born under the image of Zeir Anpin. 89. He is the foundation and mightier than the 7 kings. They are the image of the kingdom in Zeir Anpin and Nukva. 90. His feminine element, Metbal, was born under the image of Nukva. 91. They were born for the Tikkun of Adam. 92. Hadar and Metbal entered in conception inside of Abba and Ima in righteousness. Their Zeir Anpin and Nukva were born in the image of higher soul so that it could establish their soul's life force in the principle of circles. 93. The 7 kings died. Then the second 7 points of Hadar made the secret of the 2 Sabbaths, masculine and feminine. 94. Hadar is of the tetragrammaton. It is spirit and righteousness. It is masculine and feminine in the kingdom from which he was born. 95. The image of the 7 kingdoms is in the 6 Sephirot that makes Zeir Anpin. 96. They are the tetragrammaton and the tetragrammaton of the general tetragrammaton that is also the name tetragrammaton. 97. The general tetragrammaton is the soul, and it is the 7 kingdoms that are in Zeir Anpin and Nukva, and they are the 7 primeval kings. 98. They were born from the circular. 99. Elohim is the secret of gleaming dot. It stretches from Zeir Anpin in the world of creation until the end of the Shekinah. They are the 120 combinations of Elohim. They are the exterior vessels. Dots outside of them is Elohim of gleaming, and strange gods begin there. This is the secret of 288 sparks, which were to be purified in the realm of gleaming shells. 100. The realm of gleaming shells, on the farthest reach of Atzilut, is holy Elohim, the throne of sparks. From Zer and Pin in the world of creation and below lie good and evil. 101. In the beginning the upper emanator created the kings of Edom in the aspect of holiness that reflected judgment and severity. They were made from dregs and shells. The upper emanator created them thus and in full intention so that there would be reward and punishment in the world. He took their lives so that their holy sparks would be purified. These sparks could then ascend above the shells in which they had been inextricably trapped. The shells would then remain below, far below, in the secret of the drosses of gold and dregs of wine. 102. The 7 lower kings had complete death within them, just as any person who might depart from this world, whose soul's sacred breath returns to God, who gave it. The body no longer has strength to grasp onto breath and soul. It loses its hold upon them, dies and returns to the dry earth below. This is also the case with the kings whose vassals were not able to contain the great light. They died and descended to the dry earth, the world of creation. The souls, their sacred breath, ascended to God, to Upper Ima, the Upper Mother. It is Upper Ima who gives sacred lights and essence within them and who receives it when they have departed. It is therefore called death, because everyone who descends from greatness is separated from the world of their birth and falls from higher ranks to lower levels is called death, as is written in Zohar Parashot Nasoidra. One should not say that the 7 lower kings died, but rather they descended as one who descends from his or her rank, etc. As is written, Ut Deli, and the king of Egypt died. See there, the defect that occurred to the 3 higher kings fell and was preserved in Atzilut itself. The only difference is that it resided in a lower place, and therefore this will not be called death, just abrogation. 103. The secret of Adam Kadmon, the husband of Lilith, is he ate, was enticed, and died, as is written in Pashat Teruma 144. The good that exists in the glowing of shells is Adam Kadmon, and when he was mixed among evil, the exterior shells, he became evil. His death lies in the secret of the death of the kings of Edom. The vessels were made from their remnants, and they are the glowing that shines in them. This is therefore the tree of death, as mentioned in the Tikkunim 60, 104. And these are the glowing shells, the hide of the serpent, the outer shells that comprise all such worlds. They are of the value of the snake, and are mixed with holiness. The shells of storm, stormy wind, Ez, are the inner life of the snake. The snake has an inner world, Surmi. Wind begins below and strives to ascend. Double go glowing is the highest and lives within all of them. It is close to holiness. It is called the hide of the snake in the Tikkunim 36. 105. Behold, this is in truth the sin of Adam in the tree of knowledge, and good and evil. His garments come from electrum. He inherited them from glowing shells. Was dressed in glowing shells, which is good and evil, called the hide of the snake. 106. After the sin of Adam, all of his garments and limbs were lost, including those that would make of the sons of Adam of Israel of this world. They fell into gleaming shells, Kelepa Noga. After having been purified, they returned, mixed among good and evil, and then gleaming shells took the form of mankind. Mankind had power over others to cause pain and to destroy, as is mentioned in Saba of Mishpatim, and all of the garments of Adam fell and mixed with the evil of the shells of matter. Adam's garments form each body that lives in this world. Each body is good and evil. These garments must be purified again by means of the commandments. 107. Adam. Adam saw that the snake was mating with Hava, and he desired to do that act. Adam was created during daylight on Friday, the eve of the Sabbath. If he would have waited to mate until Friday evening, the mating, would have been proper and all of Adam's semen would have been without evil. But since Adam chose to mate during the day, filth mixed with his semen. This signifies the tree of knowledge, good and evil. The snake put its filth into the daylight hours through Friday until sunset, because the shells gather during this time. The shells want to receive the same holy illumination so that they might have life during the forthcoming week. This is why it is written that one must wash the hands and the feet on the eve of the Sabbath. 108. The first 3 kings suffered a change, but it was not really death. The 7 lower kings really died. 109. I heard once from my teacher, of blessed memory, that the 7 kings died because they lost their branches when they were unable to tolerate the light, but their roots remained within, and when the upper emanator returned to fix them, he gave the branches back to their roots, and in this way they were repaired. The 3 upper kings in Zeir Anpin are the roots of the 7 lower kings. When the 7 lower kings lacked divine inner consciousness, they died. When they were repaired, he brought them back again to their roots in the secret of the fetus, and their roots are the 3 upper kings. And all of the kings entered the worlds together, and they began their existence. 110. Oh, hear the secret. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of the hand, and meted out heaven with a span, and comprehended the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and put the hills in a balance? Is 8. It is the vessel of the living divine presence, the dust of the dry earth. This vessel and this dust are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before any king reigned over the children of Israel. This is the secret, and comprehended the dust of the earth, which is the vessel of the divine living presence. It is called dust of the earth. The emanator spanned it from the crown through the foundation. 1. In the beginning there was simple light called En Sofer. 2. Neither void nor did emptiness exist. All was the light of En Sof. 3. And behold, this enigma is very deep. It almost endangers the person who examines it carefully. The upper light diffuses eternally. This light that radiates eternally is called En Sof. It cannot be grasped in thought nor principle. It is abstracted and separated from all thought, and it existed before all that was ever emanated or created. 4. And then he chose through his divine will to emanate and to create. 5. He did this for compassion and mercy, because if there were no one among the worlds who might receive mercy from him, how would he be called compassionate and merciful? 6. Behold, he contracted himself in the middle of his light, in his very midpoint, leaving a void within. 7. The contraction reveals the root of justice, so that divine justice would exist in the worlds. 8. Ere of the contraction there remained an empty space and open void, poised in the midst of En Sof, so that emanated and created beings could be there. 9. Behold, Adam was created by the contraction. Substance and vessels were there. 10. The contraction causes the birth of vessels. The design are not truly vessels yet, except for the value of light that is in them. It is perfectly pure, clear, and transparently bright. 11. En Sof contracted itself to form Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon was made in order to produce the points. This is emanation. These events relate closely to the abrogation of the kings of Edom. 12. Behold, Adam Kadmon moved from the upper to the lower end of the void of emanation. 13. This void formed a circle, equidistant from all sides of its midpoint, such that the light of En Sof encompassed it equally. 14. An empty space existed between the light inside the void and the light of En Sof that surrounded it. If the case were otherwise, everything would return to how it was. 15. En Sof surrounds the emanations within the void completely and is attached. At the summit of the upper emanation is the head, and it continues to spread to the end of emanation. There is thus a beginning and an end in emanation. 16. A line of light entered into the void from the light of Ein Sof. It moved from above to below. 17. The topmost point of the light is fully connected to Ein Sof. The lowermost point is not. 18. And by way of this line there continues and spreads the light of Ein Sof beneath. 19. And in that empty space he emanated, created, and made the entirety of all the worlds. 20. And this thin line spreads and moves from the seas of the upper light of Ein Sofra to the world which are in the place of higher realms in that void. 21. In the beginning, the line of light spread, extended itself, and became a circle, detached from the light of Ein Sof, as Ein Sof surrounded the void from all sides. 22. If the circle were attached to Ein Sof, it would return to the fullness that created it and dissolve in the light of Ein Sof, and all would return to what it was in the beginning. 23. The circle is near to the Ein Sof that surrounds it without being attached to it. 24. The principle of connection and attachment of the Emma. Dated circle to Ein Sof is by way of the line that traverses it, as it descends and draws light from Ein Sof and emanates it, forming the circle. 25. Ein Sof illuminates into beings by way of this line only. Ein Sof causes the emanations that flow only into the line of light, because if Ein Sof were to flood into the void from all sides, the emanator would become the emanated, without boundary and without end. 26. The thin line is small, so that the light will be drawn to the emanated in a fixed manner and end. This forms the basis of that which is emanated. 27. In the beginning 10 points exited from a ransom, without tikkun. 28. They exited in the aspect of lights and vessels without tikkun, and therefore they could not tolerate the light. Tikkun existed for the vessels so that they could tolerate the light. But the vessels could still not bear the lights that formed their essence within. They broke and died. 29. They were born without tikkun, shattered, and died for the purpose of creating external shells. External shells are necessary in the world to reward the good and righteous and to punish the wicked. They were created later. 30. After they shattered, he returned to repair them, as he returned to repair the vessels, and to raise the holiness that was in them through tikkun. 32. There are 10 qualities and 10 sephirot. This means that they have number, quality, and an end. 33. Behold, the line forms the first circle, and it is most attached to Ein Sof. It is called Keter of Adam Kadmon. 34. Subsequently, the line moves fluidly and continuously, and forms another circle inside the first circle, called Chochma of Adam Kadmon. 35. It then continues, descending lower, and forms a third circle inside the second circle, called Bina of Adam Kadmon. 36. And thus it continues until the 10th circle, called Malhut of Adam Kadmon. 37. The line moves in a straight manner, from above to below, from the apex of the upper circle to the nadir of the lowest, from top to bottom of all of the sephirot, in the secret of the straight image of mankind, that has erect height and 248 limbs. They are drawn in the image of man in 3 lines, right, left, middle, all of which comprise the generality of the 10 sephirot. Each sephirah has infinite configuration in the manner of circles. 38. Subsequently, 10 more sephirot form Atik Yomen, and 10 other ones, each inside of the other, form Arik Anpin, and then Abba and Imma, etc., thereby completing all of emanation to the last detail, Dunadayan. There is internal light and surrounding light. Everything is in the aspect of circles. 39. In the middle of all emanation is a circle that forms in the aspect of a straight line of light. It is in the image of a circle, except that it is straight. In this circle are the aspects of Arich Unpen, Abba, Ima, Zehir Unpen, and Nukva, and all are straight as the Torah says, because man is in the image of God. 40. Within all circles, and through their length, Adam was drawn in a straight fashion. 41. This line gives light and abundance to each world. 42. It is the image of the straight light that is expressed in the form of 3 lines, the upper Adam. 43. It is the aspect of straightness and not of circles. 44. There are many types of worlds that were emanated, created, formed, made, and completed, thousands upon thousands and 10,000s upon 10,000s, and all of them, as if they are one, are inside that void. There is nothing outside of it. 55. And behold, each and every world has 10 Sephirot. Each Sephira is unique in each and every world. All Sephira are in the form of circles, each inside of the other in succession, continuing infinitely. They are like the layers of onions, one contained in the other, as concentric circles. 46. And behold, the aspect that joins all of the circles together is the thin line that spreads from Ein Sof and moves in a continuous manner from circle to circle until the finality of their purpose. 47. It is stated in all the books of Kabbalah that the world of Atzilut is made from the image of the 10 points that exited. The eyes of Adam Kadmon. At first these 10 points exited without tikkun. Afterward they were repaired. 48. The first point, Keter, possessed tikkun. Arich Anpin is below Keter and is part of it. 49. From the second and third points, Chochma and Bina, were created 2 faces, called Abba and Ima. Shef, Gevura and Tiferet of Arich Anpin are concealed in them. 50. Subsequently from the 6 points, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, Ched, Gevura, Tiferet, Nesach, Hod, Yesod, were made 1 face called Zerah Anpin. 51. And afterwards, from the 10th point Malkut, there was made another face, called Nukva, of Zeir Anpin. 52. Nesak, Hod and Yesod of Arich Anpin are concealed in Zeir Anpin and Nukva. 53. Each Partzufim is concealed each within the other, successively until there is only one, Arich Anpin, which is the Keter, that includes all emanation from above to below. 54. Therefore, after the Tikun, the 10 points, formed the image of 5 faces. Arich Anpin, Abba, Ima, Zeir Anpin, and Nukva. Atik Yomen was concealed within Arich Anpin. 55. These faces now form the image of 5 countenances, formed from Tikun, each succeeding the other in greatness. 56. Zeir Anpin is deficient compared to the higher 3 faces. 57. Nukva of Zeir Anpin was made from the 4th face from Zeir Anpin. 58. It cannot be said that the Nukva of Zeir Anpin was created of 10 points in the same manner as the first 3 faces, because, if this were so, then Nukva's ascent would be greater than that of Zeir Anpin. The Nukva is an individual point comprised of 10 points of the Keter that is in it. 59. This was not so in the beginning. Each had been separate and distinct. Each comprised an individual point, forming 10. 60. God created the world so that he would be complete in all his works, deeds, strengths, names of greatness, degree, and honor. 61. If he does not bring his deeds and strengths to fruition, he would not be complete in them. 62. The great name, the Tetragrammaton, arises from his eternal beginning and eternal existence forever. 63. He was and is, he will be before the creation. He will be before the existence of the creation. He will be after these things return to what they were. 64. If the worlds were not created, no one would grasp his eternal being in the past, present, and future. 65. He is merciful, compassionate, and slow to anger. 66. I speak now of Ein Sof, and with God's help I will explain how Atzilut and the worlds that emanate from it came to be. 67. There was at one time a great investigation and disagreement that divided the Kabbalists regarding this matter. 68. It was once written that the 10 Sephirots existed in 10 successive steps, each one above the other. On the other hand, it was also written that they were ordered as in lines, right, left, and middle, so that the right line issues forth as chochmah, ches, the left line as bina, gevura, hod, pillar of judgment, and the middle as keta, tiferet, yesod, pillar of compassion, and malchut. 69. And still there are others who are so wise as to say that the sephirot form concentric circles, each encircling the other. 70. The question regarding the order of the sephirot is deep and difficult. 71. The difference between the two different configurations of sephiroto is that one existed before Tikkun, the other after Tikkun. 72. Ein Sof is pervasively uniform and extends infinitely without direction. It is not proper to attribute such qualities as above and below, front and back to it. Doret. The light of Ein Sof passes through the density of each sephira and moves from the inner essence again to the outside of each of them in perfect totality. 73. This means, you are a soul to my soul, as stated in the book of the Zohar. 74. And it was also written, above all and above everything there is no God above nor below, and Sothon, and God fills all the worlds, and moves about each side. 75. After the return of the line of light of Ein Sof, which was to be inside of the vessels, the light of Adam Kadmon's essence, his bones, returned and was contained inside of the vessels. The light remained as vessels, and as the impression of his essence, his bones. 76. In the beginning, 10 sephirot emanated in the image of circles. The circles are the 10 vessels. 77. Inside each sephira is the essence of light, called the soul. 78. The lights live on 5 levels: nefesh, ruah, neshama, haya, yehida. HIDA 79. 5 images of light form the lower Adam. 80. This inner light is a wheel that lives inside of each vessel. 81. There is a surrounding light that moves around each vessel as a sphere. 82. The sephirot live in this way as spheres and heavens. 83. They are the heavens above our lower world. 84. The 10 sephirot emanated in the image of straightness as the image of man. Right, left, middle. The sephirot of straightness are superior to that of the circular sephirot. 85. The sephirot are in the image of the higher soul. They form the 10 vessels in the image of one Adam. 86. The first 10 sephirods of Adam Kadmon formed the image of circles called nefesh. 10 other sephirot of Adam Kadmon were emanated in the aspect of ruah, in the image of straightness as mankind, with a tall stature. Dot, head, arms, hands, body and legs. The line continues from Ein Sof into the void and below, and draws mankind with 10 sephirot in the aspect of straightness. To 87. Each of the 10 vessels have an interior and an exterior. In the vessels of the 10 sephirot are the images of bones and light, called the higher soul. 88. In this manner are all the worlds also, the emanated ones, the created ones, the formed ones, and made. Ones were formed in the primal space. There is nothing outside of it. 89. The light of Ein Sof surrounds them and shines in all of the worlds. A great, true, and real illumination spreads and permeates into every world. 90. Zeg, Ampin, and Nukva are the names of God. In 81. They are spirit, and their birth is hidden in the secret of divine consciousness of Zeir Anpin. 92. Zeir Anpin develops with great majesty, and the Nukva in him are the sons of the 10-fold Sephirot. 93. The Nukva is sown from Zeir Anpin. Nukva is feminine and assumes the judgment of God. Zeir Anpin is male. 94. Thus, the Tetragrammaton is called Elohim, the complete name. 95. The feminine Elohim is sown from Zeir Anpin because beings repel Elohim. 96. The exterior worlds are vessels, body and lower soul, life force. 97. The inner worlds are the 10 Sephirot of spirit. They are formed through emanation. 98. The souls of mankind came from the man of emanation, the immanent tetragrammaton. 99 angels live in external worlds, and they are body as well as soul. 100. The body of Elohim descends at times into the worlds of creation, formation, and making. 101. It is adorned and dressed in these clothes to coquette in front of her husband, and it says, "See what I do, and developments that I have made." 102. He is the light that points to the returning light. 103. The upper light spreads to lower worlds. It then departs, thereby leaving a closing impression upon them. 104. The impression is that light that remains beneath when the upper light departs and disappears to its source, it exists without the upper light. 105. This remaining light became the image of a vessel. A vessel exists because the upper light spreads to it and departs. 106. It becomes a vessel, in its separation from the root of its light. 107. His anger causes withdrawal of the light. 108. The measure of time in which the light does not arrive in the Sephirot is only for one moment. They exist only for a moment in his anger, and because they do not have the strength to endure the full light. 109. But the light continues to return to lower worlds to give life. 110. The joy of the Sephirot is to turn their faces to the light. 111. The nature of this is to give light and then to withdraw it again, as in the flame of a candle that shakes. 112. Thus there is no measure to the span of life of the lower ones. Only through their acts will this span be determined. 113 Chochmah is the beginning. 114 Keter is the upper image of the Sephirot and is not part of the world. It is like the crown of the king that sits above the head. 115. The rabbi said in Sefer Yetzirah, he created substance from tohu and made that which was nothing something. 116. Before God created the four foundations, Chochmah, Bina, Tiferet, and Malkut, he created a single element of matter, called Chili. 117. From this Chili he formed everything, brought all things into existence, clothed them, and put them into their final condition. 118. This substance, which the Greeks call Chili, is called Tohu in the sacred language. 119. This word was born from the expression of the sages. That means, he regretted his former deeds. 120. If a person wishes to find a name for this primordial matter, then the person might change his mind and rename it because it is formless and can have no form to which that name should be attached. 121. The form that Tohu ultimately assumes is called Bohu in the sacred language. Horrible. 122. One might compare this to the verse, "Thou art not able," Asuhu, to perform it, X 18:18, and "the shall stretch over it the line of Totu and the stones of Bohu," Esther 34:11. The stones are the forms in the building, and thus constitute substance as expressed in the Hebrew Bohu. 123. Tohu succeeds nothingness, because there is nothing yet in it. 124. He created substance from Tohu, and made that which was nothing something. It is the thing prepared to receive the form of the four foundations. 125 En Soft is called absolute zero, ES, because no one can conceive it. It has no matter nor form. 126. Then Tohu came into being. It is the Keter. 127. After Keter, Bohu came into being, which contains the four foundations, Chochmah, Bina, Tiferet, and Malchut. 128. There must be an intermediate point between the emanator and the emanated, because there is a distance between them, just as there is between heaven and earth. 129. But how will one illuminate the other, each of which is of two extremes? 130. How would one create the other, if there were not something between them that joins them together? 131. There is such a point, near to the emanator and near to the emanated. 132. Behold, this point is called Kita. It is the Tohu, and it has no foundation in it. 133 Kita is the average of everything that exists between the emanator and the emanated. 134. There is no hint of it in the Tetragrammaton at all. It exists only at the tip of the Yod. 135. The Keter is the model of all pre-matter. It is called highly. 136. The Keter contains the root of all foundations in strength, but not in actuality. 137. It is therefore called Tohu, because one would say there is no form in it at all. Nevertheless, we see that it is emanated. 138. There are 4 forms in the emanated. 13. 139. Keter can be called the emanator and the emanated. 140. It is the greatest lower bound of all that is possible in ESO. Its unique emanation is the root of all the 10 Sephirot, even to the point of infinitesimally small granularity. Nothing emanated can be smaller than the Keter. Tohu stands above it. There is nothing smaller than absolute zero FAZ. 141. There are 2 levels. The first is the most profound lower bound of Ensofi. It receives everything from everywhere, as is known that Malchut receives from all of the Sephirot. 7. 142. From this lowest level of Ensof, the upper level of all that exists in emanation comes into being. It contains the root of all that is emanated and emanates to all Sephiot. 143. There is no other level between these two because the emanator is perfectly close to him. 144. The generality of everything is the Keter. Its essence is of one image. 145. In the Kita is the image of Ein Sof and of the emanated. The image of Ein Sof is Atik Yomen. 146. Atik Yomen and Arik Anpin are called Keter. 147. The emanated has only 4 levels. They are the 4 letters, Yod, He, Vav, He. They are the 4 worlds, Atzilut, Beraya, Yetziraya, Ashia. They are Chochmah, Bina, Tiferet, and Malchut. 148. The average image between the emanator and the emanated is the Keter. 149. The Keter contains the generality of everything that is above it, although it is smaller, and it depends upon everything above for sustenance. 1150. In the Keter lies the root of the 10 emanated Sephirot. The Keter emanates in them. 151. Do not be surprised if we say the 10 Sephirot of emanation are divided into the 4 letters of Yod, He, Vav, He. They might be divided into the 5 Partzufim. The 10 Sephirot are in all worlds and in all Partzufim. 152. There is always the upper image, the emanator, and the lower image, the emanated. 153. Nothing that is emanated is without the letters Yod, He, Vav, He, and the 10 Sephirot. 154. The average image among the emanator, the emanated, all worlds, Partzufim, and Sephirot is the Keter. 155. It is clear in all of the teachings, I am the first, and I am the last. It's 44.6. The Keter is the first and the last. 156 Keter is in Malchut of the emanator, which is last. Keter is in the root of all that is emanated, which is the first. 157. Everything that is emanated comprises all foundations, which are the four letters Yod, Hey, Vav, Heya. They are the four worlds Atzilut, Beraya, Yetzirah, Aziyah. 158. Everything that was created in all worlds is of only four aspects, Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. They are breath of life, living soul, image of organs, image of coverings, image of houses. The interior of all of emanation is the breath of life. It is within organs of the body called vessels. These are the 10 Sephirot. 159. The body is the image of the 10 Sephirot. It has bounds and measure. The body is contained inside vessels of emanation. The living soul is within and has no measure at all. 160. The coverings have the aspects of houses. They are the 7 palaces of emanation and are in the image of the world itself. They are heavens, earth, and air in the image of houses. They are the world of emanation inside of which sits the upper man, who is living soul and body. 161. The coverings of Malkut are in the palace of the upper king, who is the generality of the world of emanation. 162. This is the image of the 10 Sephirots that issue forth from Chokmah. 163. And Keter is the root of it all. And the image of light and living soul in Keter is the root of the 10 Sephirot, of the Katea, Ketekusi, living souls of emanation that issue forth from Chochmah. 164. The image of the palace that is in Keter is the root of the 10 Sephirot of the palaces that are in emanation, which issue forth from Chochmah. 165. The world of creation was made in this way because the ... the earth of the palace of emanation shone below. 166. The circle that surrounds all other circles is the one of Keter. It is attached with Onsof more than all of the rest and is most blessed. The second circle is called Chokmah. There is an interruption between it and Onsof, which is the circle of Keter. Consequently, the circle of Bina is distant from Onsof by a measure of 2 circles, and so on, each inside of the other, such that one is nearer to Ensof than its associate. 167. The higher circles are more blessed than their lower associates, and this continues until we find this world, the earthly material one, the midpoint, contained inside all worlds, and the void. It is absolutely distant from Ensof, more than all of the other worlds by far. It is for this reason so much more corporeal and completely material than all other worlds, the midmost point inside of them all, and understand this well. 168. The line is that truest connection between the emanated circles and Ensof. 169. Everything in the world of emanation was sealed there. The world of creation was called the world of creation because this world is the secondary light and not the upper light itself. 170. Behold, there is an emanator, and what is emanated? 171. What is emanated has 4 foundations: fire, breath of life, water, earth. 172. They are also the letters Yod, Hey, Vav, Hey. Further, they are the letters that Yod and Hey Vav. 1733. They are also Chokmah, Bina, Tiferet, and Malchut. 174. They are also Atzilut, Beraya, Yetzirah, Asiyah, of which are made the 4 aspects in mankind. 1. The inner man, the breath of life and soul, Nefesh, breath of life, Ruah, living soul, Neshama, spirit of life, Haya, individual, Yehaida, Atzilut. 2. Body, Beraya. 3. Clothes that cover the body, Aziyah. 4. House in which man lives, Aziyah. 175. Behold, the living soul is for the living soul, and the soul is for the breath of life and the living soul. And there is the body, of which bones are made and in which marrow and brains reside, and there are sinews, flesh, and more. And the Bible says, "You have clothed me with skin and flesh." and you knit me together with bones and sinews. Job 10 verse 11. These are the clothes and coverings. 176. What lies between the Creator and the created is the image of the breath of life. 177a, very small spark, the image of divinity coexists at the lowest and the highest levels in the Creator. 178. This spark is contained in the power of one created spark, the living soul, the individual. Within this soul are soul, breath of life, living soul, and spirit of life. 179. It is impossible to be dressed inside of matter, if not by means of something. 180. Behold, the upper man has 5 forms, each within the other: Nefesh, Ruah, Neshama, Haya, and Yehida. 108. The generality of the 5 forms is called the image of Adam. 22. It is not Adam himself. The 5 forms are called soul, spirit, life, breath, living soul. 183. The generality of the vessels are substances, sinews, etc., that are called the body of mankind. 184. These generalities are in emanation, the world of Atzilut. 185. They are likewise this way in the worlds of creation, formation, and making, except that in the world of Atzilut all lights, images, and vessels are complete divinity. 101. 180. The 6th. It is unique and special, as mentioned in the introduction of the Tikkunim. He and his lives and his bodies are one in them. ... However, living soul, spirit, and individual exist beyond the worlds of creation, formation, and making. 187. From breath of life and below, lower worlds are separated. They are called created, formed, and made. All is in forms, but the images and vessels are all created, formed, and made. 188. The lower man comprises all worlds of emanation, creation, formation, and making. 189. Behold, Adam's vessel was made from holiness, ... of the dry earth of Garden of Eden, before he sinned. The vessel then became the dry earth of this world after he sinned. 190. All commandments are given so that the vessels and the images, the breath of the bone, can be repaired. They are the sparks that fell when the vessels broke. 191. The commandments were given to remove the shells from them. 192. The image is composed of 613 limbs. All of them are from the aspect of angels that were created, formed, or made. 193. These are the 613 angels who depart to the souls. These are the generalities of one image, the good inclination, which is in Adam. 194. There are 613 evil ones who are of one image, the evil inclination. 195. And in the beginning, the image was placed in the world. 196. In order to repair it, images of forms entered in it. 197. After the image was repaired, so also were the vessels. 98. After the death of Adam, who was in the vessels, his image was covered inside of other vessels, where they were truly fit for it. 199. These are called the coverings of Adam, who is in the Garden of Eden of the earth, the upper Garden of Eden, and in all worlds that lie above the upper garden. 200 neshama, divided into some various farks. They continued on from transmigration to transmigration. 201. The image is called the measure of the days of Adam, as the number of his sparks is the number of the days of his life, as mentioned in the Zohar, Vayehi, p. 290. 202. And in the days that he completed the commandments, he fixed a spark of that image, and in the days that he had not done this, that spark of the image in respect of that day remained defective. 203. It is in this way, therefore, that the vessels that are covered in the Garden of Eden of the earth are repaired, spark by spark, day by day. 204. It is impossible for the image to be covered in the vessel unless that covering has been corrected, that is, until the completion of its tikkun. It then departs this world and goes to the Garden of Eden of the earth and is dressed in that central body. 205. The principle that ascends is the form that is called Adam. The form is Yehidah, Hayah, Nefesh, Ruah, and Neshama. The image is also divided into 5 aspects. The image covers the form. The form cannot exist without its image. The image is of good inclination and of evil inclination. They are the angels that are in Adam, but not Adam himself. Adam is the breath of the bone that is dressed inside the vessel, the body. 206. The image is the average that spans between form and matter. Image has a likeness to both form and matter. 207. The commandments are meant to purify and clarify the image and matter, but the form is not in need of repair at all. The form did not need to be dressed in image and matter, but to continue existence in them so that they might be repaired and clarified, and understand this very well. 208. The reason that Neshama descended into this world was to repair and to clarify the image of the Shekhinah and the sparks that had fallen. 209. The angels are greater and less than Neshama. They are not part of the living body like Adam. They are not dressed in the body. The images of angels that accompany Adam are inferior to him because Adam is angels and form. Angels and form accompany him, and are the 613 limbs of the form, his servants and chariot. Angels are the chariot for Adam, and yet they are less than he. The angels of the chariot of the Holy One are higher than Adam. There are angels higher than Neshama. 210. These have within them aspects of matter that cover them: body, guf and vessels, kelim. 211. The body is divided into parts: brain, mo, bones, somat, sinews, flesh, githin, flesh, basar, and skin, or. 212. It is impossible to dress the forms inside of a body until each is dressed inside its individual image, Tzimtzum. 213. There are 5 types of dresses compared to the 5 forms. There are the images of Nefesh, Ruah, Neshama, Hayah, and Yehidah. 214. The 5 dresses of the 5 forms are images, and they are in the secret of the 288 sparks that remained inside the vessels that were broken. They are called breath of the bone. 215. They are the sparks from the tetragrammaton. 216. It was necessary that the Holy One, blessed be He, create His world and set His world into the world. Everything is in contrast of the brain to the belly. To belly, each world is formed in this fashion. He covers the belly, moving from world to world, covering each belly, going round each one. 217. And though it might appear that the innermost part of each world is the brain, and that which covers it is the shell, this is not so. If you expand your intellect, you will understand that we are speaking of the worth of each of us who dwell upon the lower earth, this earth that cleaves so near to everyone below. It is the aspect of the shell that encircles our value and worth, in contrast to the brain that is above it. The brain is the circle that goes round the earth, followed by subsequent circles extending upwardly, each exceeding our own value more and more. Each higher circle is the brain to the lower, extending onto Ein Sof, which lies above and within everything that is emanated. 218. Ein Sof is the brain that is above all. All that is emanated forms shells that envelop it. 219. The circle nearest lower earth is the outermost of all shells from Ein Sof. The following are from Ein Sof. All circles are in the image of shells. 220. Each world, on the other hand, sees the shell that goes round the brain and views things differently. 221. Adam is drawn is straightness, and some worlds are comprised within him. 222. The tetragrammaton is split into pieces, existing in successive steps. They form one body. The worlds drawn in the image of Adam form one world. 223. All images are drawn in the image of Adam. They are the brain to the belly, the higher image over each belly successively. Atik Yomen is to the belly of Arik Anpan. Arik Anpen is to the belly of Abba and Ima. Abba and Ima are to the belly of Ze'er Anpan Nukva, etc. The 10 Sephirot follow likewise in successive steps. 224. Each is in contrast to the belly of the other. This one the brain, the other the shell, belly. 225. It is in this way that the one emanating became attached to that which was emanated. 226. All worlds are contained in him. We do not have permission to speak of the inner essence of this man. We only speak about what he emanates. 227. We now explain withdrawal of the upper light. 228. Upper light spreads, then disappears and returns to its source. It leaves a closing impression below after it has departed. 229. The impression of light that remains below when the upper light returns to its source is the remaining light. This makes the aspect of a vessel. The spread of light and its subsequent disappearance cause the existence of vessels. 230. The light arrives and does not arrive. It is written in the Zohar. 231. You should not think that the 10 Sephirot are superior and beyond all that was emanated because other worlds are above them. They were not considered because they were not visible, and they are hidden in a wondrous secret. Let your eyes see. There are 3 articles in the book of Tikkunim that discuss the many worlds that are obscured within the Sephirot ... And if you apply your intellect well to the many hints and esoterica among these articles, you will be amazed and astonished when you see how many levels upon levels without number preceded the 4 foundations, worlds and 10 Sephirot of emanation. 232. The scholars hid these things in the sweetness of their language and called them the 10 burnishments above the upper Keter and other such things. 233. There is no end to the worlds in these places because there are thousands and tens of thousands and so on. 234. There is one entity that is included in all worlds and places. All worlds develop from it, depend on it, and grasp into it. They exit from it and are revealed as Separ, great entities from it. This entity is Adam Kadmon. Adam Kadmon preceded all. 235. In the greater sense and hidden power of Adam Kadmon, one did not discuss the secret of what was revealed in some hidden places. I will mention some of them. In the Tikkunim at the end of Tikkun 1941, B is written, shall we say ... It is known that Adam Kadmon exists for all that preceded everything, and is there yet another Adam? 236. The Tikkunim says, a great craftsman made a drawing in the palace of Adam Kadmon for everything that preceded. That drawing is Adam. 237. The Zohar says, the king has brought me into his chambers. This means that the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet spread and illuminate from the very beginning of illumination, and you already knew that the beginnings of the king were established in grace and strength. 238. Malkut has no cause, because it is the image of the lower soul, the force of life. 239. The 10 Sephirot of Atzilut are divided into 5 aspects, which are Arik Anpin, Abba, Ima, Ze'er Anpin, and Nukva. All have the generality of one Adam. All move within one thought, as Adam's limbs move within one thought. 240. The world of Atzilut is called thought, just as the substance and life of Ein Sof are one in unity, and this thought indeed moves inside of Atzilut. 241. Everything is truly one thing. 242. It and its substance are one because it is with everything together. It is not the case that thought precedes action, because everything becomes one. 243 in the Zohar, Parashot Pekuded, p. 262, it is written that thought, will of the heart, voice and speech make the four worlds, Atzilut, Be'eria, Yetzira, Asiya. A 244, Abba is called thought, and it cannot be comprehended. Bina is Nukva. It has the power to form vessels. Within life, Bina is closest to matter. Bina is Lesyon Banyan, which means the dialectic of building. 245 Neshama, the higher soul, has 10 complete Sephirot. It is the countenance within Zeir Ampin of the world of emanation. 246. We now speak of secrets. We know that when Ima emanates inside of Zeir Pinpin, it is as a mother who sits upon her young. If Abba wishes to join with Ima, he lowers his head toward her so that they might be together in the child that forms from their union is born in the image of divine consciousness, and all of Zer's and Nukva's children inherit it so that they will join and finally give birth to new, higher souls for the children of Adam. 247. Only within the union of their divine consciousness do Zer and Nukva truly give birth to Neshamot, which is given to them by Abba and Ima. 248. Pure divine consciousness makes the birth of souls possible. 249. No birth can unfold without divine consciousness. Abba and Ima, they are true divine consciousness. 250 Abba and Ima dot joined together. Their crowns and inner consciousness are inherited by the children of Zer and Nukva of creation. 251 Zer and Nukva give birth to Neshamot of the angels of Yetzirah, because the dwelling place of angels is in Yetzirah. 252. All sacred union serves the young. ... It serves in their conception, birth, nursing, and development. 253. It is called divine inner consciousness. It comes from Abba and Ima of Atzilut. The upper mattings of Abba and Ima of Atzilut Sevaba and Ima of Beraya, so that they will in turn give divine consciousness to Zer and Nukva, who in turn will give birth to souls of new angels. 254. There are two aspects of divine union between Zeir Anpin and Nukva of Atzilut. They are either united or unconscious and joined back to back. 255. Before Adam was created, and before the creation of the world, Zeir and Nukva were unconscious and joined. Therefore, all worlds were unconscious and joined according to this secret in the world of making. Our world existed in this same state. 256. Divine inner consciousness is the vessel of the soul. The heart is the vessel of the soul's higher emotions, and the liver is the vessel of its physical life force. The soul spreads from divine consciousness throughout the body. It is called Adult Zeir Anpin, the divine inner consciousness. Dies Deuli. It is recognized only in this consciousness and not in the body. 257. The soul's higher emotions spread from within the heart and into the body. The heart is the intermediate vessel that is called nursing, and it is the garment for the upper soul and divine consciousness. The upper soul is only recognized in divine consciousness because the body is no longer perceived. Then the soul's physical life force spreads inside of the liver. It covers the soul's higher emotions and heart. The soul's higher emotions are only recognized in the heart. 258. This is therefore the order of their roots and very essence. You understand now how all of the world of emanation moves in understanding that flows into form. Bina, and Bina is its higher soul. Half of it is exposed, and half of it is hidden in Zeir Anpin, who is the soul's higher emotions. Half of it is exposed, and half of it is hidden in Nukva, who is the soul's physical life force. 259. The vessel of divine consciousness moves throughout all of the body. 260. Behold, there are 3 vessels, each contained within the other. They are in the images of Iba, conception, Yenika, nursing, and Mohin, divine consciousness. They are vessels for the soul's physical life force, higher emotions, and upper levels. 261. Then the flesh, red fire, covers them. This is called red flesh. This is the secret of the electrum that surrounds the vessels, as the colour of electrum out of the midst of the fire ... and this is the secret of red flesh. Then there is the skin, and it is the tree of knowledge, the good that is in Atzilut. And behold, flesh is the name Elohim, that surrounds living forms, and it is called the throne of sparks. 262. Zeir and Pin, Nukva and all creatures are the children of Abba and Imma. And we, his nation Israel, are all created by Zeir and Nukva. We are their children. What ? Zeir and perfection of the children reaches back to the parents, who are Zeir and Nukva. 2063. Behold, external forces and matter rule only in Zephyr and Pen and Nukva. 264. They are called the 7 days of Genesis in which the world was created. 265. Angry God will vanquish and subjugate the Kelipot. 266. ... We have explained the matter of the Shekinah in exile. Adam Harishon sinned and mixed good in evil, and the souls of holiness fell into the Kelipot, and there is no strength in them to leave it, were it not because of his mercy may he be blessed. And this gives him sorrow, and the Shekinah of his strength goes with Israel in exile inside the Kelipot. It enters in their place and gathers those souls from there. 267. It was necessary to create one, Adam, who would be part of all created and emanated ones, who ties all worlds together until the depth of the earth. He is nearest to receive the emanation from the 10 Sephirot, and then in the tikkun of his deeds he would draw the emanation. From the 10 Sephirot to himself, and from himself to the angels, and from them to the Kelipot, in order that it would be repaired, and from it to the worlds themselves that make vessels and the forms of letters of each word. 268. It was necessary that mankind would be composed from all the worlds, so that these worlds might help mankind in his deeds and continue the flow of emanation to him, and from him to the worlds again in return, because the worlds do not have the strength to sustain emanations without mankind's participation, and therefore when man sins, all the worlds are spoiled and receive punishment and a lessening of emanation in themselves, because they did not help mankind. 269. In the beginning, the emanator formed vessels from his own profound absence. He withdrew all light to the highest regions, because judgments and vessels can only be revealed during the absence of En Sof. Sacred light abrogates that which is to be created, and therefore vessels would not hypostasize and would efface completely because of the abundance of emanation of En Sof. 70. And their spirit, the lights and essence shining in them, ascended from whence they came, to Elohim, the upper mother, and therefore it is called death. 271. Their souls, their light, ascended to their first place, which is emanation. 272. The measure of judgment always limits grace, so that it does not increase, like the vessel limits water, so that it does not spread outside. This is the essential meaning of the vessels. 273. The root of evil comes from the broken vessels, good comes from the great light, and if it were not so, there would be only good in the world. 274. The intention of Ein Sof is to develop the worlds below such that the lower world would be separated at a distance from Ein Sof more than the upper world that is above it. Thus, world after world in succession is made distant from Ein Sof in its own measure of distance and separation, so that judgment would be revealed and come into being level after level, until the last waste of these drosses that is contained in all of the worlds, and in Azir, would be purified. 275. The light which comes by way of returning above is the light returning, and it is judgment. 276. Behold, the Emanator, may his name be blessed, made this lower earth from the generality of the worlds of Atzilut, Beriah, Yetzirah, Asiya. These worlds are in his people, of Israel, whom he has chosen, so that they might connect these four worlds together here below. 277. When a person is born, the soul of that person must purify the sparks that fell to his or to her share. The sparks fell because of the sin of Adam Harishon in Kelep HaNoga. This is why a person is born into this world. 278. When the lower ones have the strength and completeness to accept the upper light of the Emanator, then the upper lights yearn to shine below, and the lights turn their faces below toward those who wish to receive them, and these faces shine upon their faces. And when completeness is lacking in the lower ones, the lights ascend and turn their faces toward the Emanator, because it is their wish to return there, and they turn their backs toward the lower ones. The new illumination shines by way of their backs upon the lower ones, and the lower ones receive the illumination which is necessary for their life, and not more. And behold, the first light which descends below is straight and merciful. It is called the light of the face. The light that departs upwardly to the Emanator is called the returning light. The light of the back, judgment. This light emanated without his will is called sustaining, exterior, female light. 279. The 10 Sephirot do not require deeds. As emanation makes them arise, they accept their divine potential and flow into emanation. Ein Sof draws emanation continually to them. It is said of Ein Sof, "For thou art not a God that has pleasure in wickedness. Evil will not sojourn with you." 280. The kings ascend with them. The kings enter in, according to the secret of Mein Nukvin. They are then purified by the Mein Dekurin. Then the kings come to this world in lower bodies as the souls of Israel. One Adam is part of all of the worlds. 2. Every world participated in his making. His image is within each of them. The worlds are able to exist through his actions. 3. Humanity's actions make life flow to heaven and to earth. It is as if mankind created them both. For Adam was not of the material world and was dressed in light. 5. He was comprised of all souls that were part of the 6,000 years that would be the world. His limbs were made from these souls. When he sinned, they vanished from him because shells, external forces, took control of him. 6. The remnants of these souls shed from him and fell into the depths of shells, matter. Souls are controlled by matter because of the sin of Adam. 7. When the souls that were in Adam fell into the shells and external forces, they mingled among the four winds of the world and took his dust. Each of the 70 officers of the nations of the world is trapped in the realm of matter and took his part from Adam. 8 angry God stops external forces and subjugates their power. 9. Adam lived in holiness in the world of creation. The world of creation is made from the soil of the Garden of Eden of the earth. 10. This soil consists of the soul's physical life force, its most upper levels, and its higher emotions. 11. After Adam sinned, all worlds descended from their place of holiness. The world of forming descended and clothed itself in the world of making. Nodde. The world of creation descended and clothed itself in the world of forming. Nukva descended to the world of creation and clothed herself therein. Zeir 12. Adam's body was from the world of forming, but only his spirit resides there now. His existence is strewn among various levels, and his body and lower soul are now in this world, the world of making. These things caused much spoilage among the worlds. 13 evil and good are equal in the world of making. External powers grasp there. The faces of God are broken there. Evil prevails over good. 14. If Adam had not sinned, all worlds would have been repaired and sustained in union and divine consciousness. 15 shells existed before the sin of Adam. They were in the 4 worlds of emanation, creation, formation, and making. Let us explain what Adam caused in these. Worlds after his sin. 16. Behold, before the creation of the world of emanation was broken. 17. After it was repaired, lower worlds were still broken, devoid of reparation and atonement. 18. Adam repaired most of the worlds. He restored their unity and consciousness. 19. But Adam could not repair the world of making, where evil rules. This world is not conscious, yet it lives. There are many external forces and much evil in it. The waste is far greater than the food. There is much grasping of the external ones. They are strange gods. These strange gods are gods who are trapped among the external forces in the world of making. 20. The globe of this lower earth upon which people, domesticated and wild animals live exists in the aspect of vessels. It is called the world of making. It is the most exterior of all of the worlds. They surround the heavens which are above this earth. 21. The world of separation is of the lower worlds and is godless. These worlds are called tree of knowledge that is both good and evil. Shekhinah is in a state of lessening. She descends and clothes herself inside of them. Shekhinah is called tree of knowledge that is both good and evil. When she descends, her feet go down to death. This is where death is found, among the shells and coverings. 22. The active divine presence in our world is divided into 10 Sephirot. They form 7 earths, each earth above the other. Between each earth is a heaven. They form the secret of surrounding lights that are in each world, and etc. Each earth is one Adam. Each has a mouth, ears, navel, pudenta, etc. The foundation that is in each earth receives emanations from the earth that is directly above it. The foundation is the land of Israel. 23. The earth is a garment of the divine presence. Sitra Ahara surrounds it. 24. Coverings are the most external part of creation. They are the 4 foundations of fire, breath of life, water, and earth. These foundations are called the posterior ones of the world of making. The shells grasp into these coverings. The coverings are called other gods. Earth is completely holy. Sitra Ahara is completely unclean. 25 shells grasp into the skin where the trapped sparks lie. The skin has inner brightness and light from the 288 sparks of the kings of Edom. It awaits to be purified. ... Evil influences attempt to attach themselves to Zer and Nukva. The power of inner brightness protects them. When there is sin, it departs, leaving only naked skin. There is a spark of holiness in the interior of the skin. ... The skin itself remains evil. ... Just as the shells nurse from this flesh. 26 Zeb and Paneman emanates in Nukva, and they join in sacred unity. But shells suck and grasp into the skin of her womb and entice Zeb Anpin's emanation so that it changes into desire for her flesh. The desire draws itself to the external world. Shells make Zeb Anpin turn away from holiness to desire and changes his pure emanation into discharges of semen. 27. Let us explain the matter of our world. Behold, the heavens that we see with our eyes are the 10 circles that are in our world. And in the midst of the circles of this vacuum, the upright body of inner divine presence spreads out among them. The body of divine presence is the Garden of Eden of our earth. Upon her back is skin. Upon the back of the skin are shells. Around the shells are her garments, surrounding lights and the heaven. This is Jerusalem. I have set her in the midst of the nations. The active divine presence of this world is Jerusalem. Shells, evil, and the 70 officers surround her, as mentioned in the Zohar, Parashat Vayachel, p. 209. The Garden of Eden of the earth is very pure and holy material. Around it is pure matter, where external forces and shells rule. In it are coarse dregs of matter, and shells, and no greater coarseness like it, exists. All worlds and higher palaces of holiness strive to purify this thick coarseness of matter that clings to the Garden of Eden of the earth. 28. The shells seek to give the earth thickness. Therefore, deeds of this world are harsh and evil. The wicked prevail. 29. The names of God are found in every sephira. Each sephira would say, "Behold, you have found the names of God in minerals, silver, gold, precious stones, rocks, rivers, mountains, hills, and in all remaining palaces, such as houses, fields, and grounds. In them are all types of minerals, as well in the 10 sephirot of the palaces, and everything is as it should be. In this way there are many names of God in these forms and coverings. There are many names of God in all limbs, and all of these things are truly present for anyone who seeks them." 30. In the Zohar, Parashat Terumah, page 144, it is written, "In this world that gleams and shines, Sitra Ahara entices Eve, because he cleaves in her in the secret of foreskin, which is the evil that is in the skin of Nukva. He nurses from the powers of holiness." 31. When Israel sins, God forbid, the upper mother departs from her children. Then shells are able to nurse from the inner light of Zer and Nukva, understand the secret, of the upper mother who must abandon her children when Israel sins. 32. The soul of the world of emanation could reside in Adam and allow him to ascend higher, and if he would attain the breath of life from the aspect of the foundation of this world, then he would be the husband of the Matronita, and Adam would be called Ish Elohim, man of Elohim. 33. Just as a righteous person's soul ascends in the secret of sacred female waters within God in our world, there are also other souls that ascend in the secret of male waters in God. But there has been no spiritual mating since the destruction of the temple, and there is no gardener to sow the seed. His garden grows over with aftergrowths that now spring forth. 34. The aftergrowths are the living souls of righteous people who developed and left the upper garden of God in our world. They now return so that they might ascend in sacred emanations of female and male waters. It is writ, and in the secret, light is sown for the righteous, and gladness is for the upright in heart, which was always sown from the beginning, and we sow it now anew. 97:11 and Parashat Terumah, P16b. 35. Mankind was given the good inclination, the evil inclination, and the higher soul. The light of the angels is called the good inclination. The light from the light of the shells is called the evil inclination, and lies outside of the good. The higher soul is the innermost part of mankind. It is the innermost part because it is called the bones, the essence of mankind. Mankind therefore has free will to do what it wishes because it is greater than this. Mankind's major inclination is the good inclination because it is holy, and because it is very akin to the good inclination. The body possesses the major share of the evil inclination. It is akin to evil and associates closely with other bodies so that it might fulfill its needs. 36. Mankind was created from all of the worlds. In this way, each world helps mankind with good deeds and brings the flow of emanations to mankind, and mankind returns them back to the worlds again in return. This is necessary because the worlds do not have the strength to sustain emanations without mankind's help. Therefore, when a person sins, all of the worlds are spoiled. They receive punishment, and their emanations become weaker because they did not help mankind. 37. There is a unique light called the world of the 10 Sephirot. This world is in the form of mankind. There is also another light called the world of higher souls of the sons of Adam, and it is part of all of the aspects of Adam and the 10 Sephirot. 38. There is another light in the form of Adam called the world of angels. 39. One small light remains. It is called the dark light. It consists of harsh judgments and severity. All shells from all worlds emanate from it, and it forms the outer garment of the world of angels. The dark light is also in the image of Adam, and outside of all of these lights are the firmaments themselves that are around all of the worlds. They are the body that curves around each world. Inside of these worlds are 5 lights. The light of Ein Sof, the innermost light. Further outward is the light of the 10 Sephirot. Then further is the world of higher souls. Next is the world of angels. And above all of these worlds are the firmaments, called the body of all lights. 40. The body of dry earth is in the world of making. It is the lowly world. Inside of it is the basic soul in the aspect of shells. Inside of this is the image of angels of this world. They help plants and the like to grow. Inside of this is the aspect of higher souls of the sons of mankind. 41. They are made from a chariot of light drawn by the lights of the 10 Sephirot in the world of making. The world of making is inside of the 4 foundations so that they might have life. These Sephirot are inside of everything, and therefore the wheel of making and the 3 worlds of formation, creation, and emanation act within mankind. 42. The world of the upper souls is innermost and highest of that of all of the angels. The angels are their servants. They draw their light and life in their service from the light of the 10 Sephirot. This is in the secret. Behold, their valiant ones cry without, the ambassadors of peace weep bitterly. If emanation is not drawn from the 10 Sephirot to the souls of Israel, they will lack emanation, and the exterior ones continue to stand above them. 43. Even the higher souls of innermost worlds do not have the strength to withstand the shells. The Nephilim that had descended were consumed by the world below and will be wiped out in the time to come. 44 higher souls are very great. Higher souls are lights in birth that flow from the 10 Sephirot. 45. Behold, the light of the higher souls is a garment for the light of the 10 Sephir. And this is the secret. My beloved is gone down to his garden, to the bed of spices, to feed in the gardens and to gather lilies. Song of Songs 6:2. He picks the higher souls of the righteous from this garden, because of the fragrance that shines through their deeds in this world. When he picks them, they will be dressed in their light. And this is the secret. But you that did cleave unto the Lord your God are alive, every one of you, this day. Detzel 4:4. This is complete connection with the light of the 10 Sephirot, but this is not entirely so in creation. It is written, I have caused the houses of Israel and Judah to cleave unto me, said the Lord, that they might be unto me for a people and for a name and for a praise and for a glory. But they would not hearken. Jerem 13.11. 46. Divine inner presence has several forms. Lower soul possesses the aspect of the masculine, so that its divine presence will arouse sacred female waters. Emanations then join together. In this way, the lower soul becomes a vessel. They in the higher and highest levels of soul awake. The souls of the righteous join in emanations with this divine presence, and through their union, more higher souls are made. 47 Ein Sof shines in all of the worlds in 2 fashions, from the inside and from the outside. It surrounds all the worlds from the outside. Adam Kadmon is the inner light, and he is contained in all of the worlds. The light of Ein Sof is internal and external. Inner light departs, surrounding light goes within. All worlds sustain their existence in this way. 48. The upper worlds are one holy entity. They are one divinity and undifferentiated. The 3 lower worlds of creation, formation, and making are aspects of this divinity and are found only in the higher soul. 49. There are an infinite number of angels. The holy names of all the Pentateuch comprise the name of the Holy One. 50. Bina is the flaming sword, which lashes toward every direction with mercy and judgment, so that the righteous might receive their reward in the world to come. The Shekinah is the flaming sword which does likewise upon this earth, so that it might bring judgment to the wicked. 51. The divine inner presence of our world ... is the flaming sword for the wicked. 52 Jerusalem's right arm is to the south, her left to the north, her face to the east, her back is to the west, and her head is to the heavens, which are the 9 Sephirot above her. 53. Therefore Adam was created male and faces the east. His back was created female, and she faces the west. And this is the secret. The Shekinah is in the west. 54. Even this very earth is in sight of the inner light, the holy temple. Opposite the earth is uncleanliness of the exterior ones. They are demons found in the likes of toilets and rivers. The earth itself is a garment, as is written, Vex, they shall perish. However, you shall endure. Yea, all of them shall wax old like a garment. As a vesture shall you change them, and they shall pass away. See Root 2, PS 102:27. This is because the exterior limbs are the lands of the 70 nations, and air, seas, and oceans that surround them. The inner limbs are the land of Israel, the holy temple, and the holy of holies. 55. The essence of the earthly Garden of Eden arises out of external forces and grasping from everywhere. Adam caused the snake to enter into the tree of knowledge. And when he touched it, the tree shouted, Evil one, do not touch me. The fruit that stands opposite the mother is the tree of life, 70 palm trees, 70 branches, 12 springs, 12 tribes. And the remaining trees in the garden are the Sephiro that are there. It is written, And the Lord God commanded the man and said, Of every tree of the garden you may freely eat. Genesis 1:16-56. The 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet of the Torah are rooted in the firmament that exists in the secret of knowledge. The upper dew is drawn from the inner consciousnesses of the ancient Holy One and is given to Zeir Anpin. From his mind are formed the 22 letters in this sacred knowledge. From Zeir Anpin, food descends to souls to bring their being forth into the Garden of Eden on the earth. The Torah is the food. Commandments are the garments. 57. Within this firmament the secret of knowledge one pillar forms. It is in the image of the spinal column that descends from this knowledge to its foundation. It continues downward until it meets the ground of the garden. The ground is divine inner presence. Within this presence souls ascend and descend frequently. There are 3 colors of the rainbow in it. The foundation is comprised of grace, severity, and harmony, as 3 colors. The root of each soul ascends in the image of one such. Color during the time of mating, Keya, Tzia. The highest souls ascend in the secret of female waters to this firmament, which is called the knowledge of Nukva. These souls receive holy emanations of male waters. They shine together in blissful unity. This is the greatest pleasure that is so often mentioned in the Zohar. 58. The world to come and the future. Ima Tevuna is the lower level of the Shekhinah and reflects discernment in mankind. Tevuna enters into the back of Zeir Anpin's head as divine consciousness, and she is called the world to come. The world of Tevuna is always coming in the secret visage of divine consciousness, as it was written in Sefer HaBahir. His pupils asked, What is the world to come? He said to them, A world that has already come. The explanation is that it is continual and has already come into the head of Zeir Anpin and will always continue to do so. The world to come is, as its translation into Aramaic, Alma Diati, world that comes, and the explanation is that it comes frequently and is continued in the head of Zeir Anpin. Bina, aspect of the intellect, however, is called the time to come. In Aramaic, Le'atid lavo, that which still did not come. Certainly these things will come afterward and increase the ascent of Zeir Anpin, and then there will always be divine consciousness from Binah for him, but it will not always come from Tevuna. And this is the meaning of the saying, Le'atid lavo, in the time to come. 59. All of the worlds have the generality of the face of mankind. They are the face of mankind in substance, vessels, and coverings everywhere. 60. In each of the worlds are soul, life force, higher emotions, higher soul, life and highest soul. The worlds have bodily limbs called vessels. 61. The soul's highest level and life itself are the surrounding ones. They are not vessels. The soul's life force, higher emotions, and higher levels are within and do not surround. 62. A dream is not from the lower soul, the life force. It is from the higher soul, of the breath of life that gives the body life, because the soul of a person comes from the four foundations. 63. The chair of Ezekiel is in the world of formation. Inner light and surrounding light are in all worlds. The vessels interrupt these worlds such that lights are within them and lights surround them. Inner lights and their vessels are uppermost and outer lights are lowermost. The ancient Holy One is within. His vessel is contained in all. Next is the inner light and vessel of the patient one. This inner presence continues down to the world of making. This world's inner light and vessel cloak all other worlds. 64. Fire. Hail, snow, vapor, and stormy wind are in the world of emanation and fulfill his word. Skin makes the shell. Shells have three forms: cloud, stormy wind, and fire, as three uncircumcised membranes, the membrane itself splitting of the membrane and pulling it down. Dripping blood. Inside of all of them is flesh and corona of the membrane. The brightness surrounds the shell. 1.4. A brightness was round about it. The fourth form of shells is and after the earthquake a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire a still small voice. I Kings 19:12. The brightness is the power in living creatures that speak fire in silence. It is the tree of knowledge and the good of the world of Absolute, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim, Pere 30. 65. The tree of knowledge, both good and evil, is in the worlds of creation, formation, and making, but the brightness is not evil. Glowing shells surround or interrupt the brightness that lives in the matter. Matter is good and evil in these worlds. It is all good in the world of Atzilut. 66. You must know that every aspect of the worlds is akin to shells and vessels. Glowing accompanies shells and vessels. The shell of the skin. 67. Glowing is Batia, daughter of Pharaoh. Pharaoh sent a mixed multitude that came from the glowing shells. They are like Lilith, the stiff-necked one, the garment of Eve. Wife of Adam. There is a greater exterior Lilith. She is the wife of Samael. She is also in this glowing. There are other inner Samaels and Liliths. Our scholars said that the inner Samaels and Liliths are an angel who was banished from heaven. He is called the flaming sword, which turned every way te. At times he is angel, at times he is a demon. It is also called Lilith, since Nukva rules at night, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim. It is also called Lilith, since Nukva rules at night, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim. It is also called Lilith, since Nukva rules at night, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim. It is also called Lilith, since Nukva rules at night, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim. It is also called Lilith, since Nukva rules at night, as is mentioned in the Tikkunim. It is also called Lilith, the terror of the air. 124. 60. Samael and Lilith are the three exterior forms of matter. There are many Samaels and Liliths. They enticed Adam and Eve. 69. This glowing mingled in Adam and Eve. Then Adam and Eve were made good and evil. 70. It is written in Parasha Vayehi 221 and Vahakel 203. The Sitra Ahara entices the wife in this glowing Nana Pukitet Neuket. Because Adam and Eve are the divine consciousness that is inside of the shells. The shells are separated from this consciousness. Shells and divine consciousness adhere to each other as light permeates matter and glows through it. 71. Every transgression below causes a transgression above. So Zeir Ampin desired the Nukva, and he roared throughout his dwelling place, and as he treated her in this way above in the world of Atzilut, she was forced into exile, below in the world of creation. So a soul leaves and goes below into exile because the male's desire is not answered in turn by that of the female's desire. Hence, by chance, a bad maid springs forth in the secret. A maid will inherit her mistress. She takes her soul. You must understand the extent of severity that a transgression above inflicts upon those who live below. 2. glowing couches closely to deceit and to evil. 73. Glowing couches closely to deceit and to evil. Divine inner presence cleaves to truth and to the soul. The glowing turns from mercy to judgment as it changes itself. ... Glowing only imitates the likeness of the 10 Sephirot. 74. The Shekinah wishes to feed the exterior ones in the secret, and his kingdom rules over all. Sachin Sheikh. She gives sustenance by means of glowing shells. It was written, it was dyed in this color in order to feed them. 75. Glowing shells are the hide of the serpent. They are the outer shells that comprise all such worlds. The snake is within them, and they are mixed with holiness. The shells of storm, stormy wind, EV 1 to 4, are the inner life of the snake. The snake has an inner world, ... stormy wind surges. Below then strives to ascend. Glowing is the highest and lives within all of them. Glowing is near to holiness. It is called the hide of the snake in the Tikkunim 36. 76. There are 2 angels. One is called the good inclination, the other is called the evil inclination. The good and evil inclinations are the guardians of mankind, and they advise mankind for its own good. In some places it is said that the good inclination is an angel and the evil inclination is a demon. The tree of knowledge is hidden in knowledge. It has grace and severity in it. Grace and severity are holiness, and they are good. But when exterior forces nurse from the tree, it mingles with good and evil. In the beginning, severities spread throughout. Ze'er Anpin's body before the graces began to spread. But because of Adam's sin, knowledge descended below, between Adam's shoulders. While it was between his 2 shoulders, severity then followed and descended to there as well. ... Because severity descended before graces, they could not be sweetened by them. This is one defect. The second defect is that severity spread throughout the body of Ze'er Anpin. Graces have not yet spread into his body. External forces grasp into it. The third defect is that the graces are naked and exposed to grasping of external forces. External forces desire to grasp into sever. But they also grasp into the graces as well. 77. When a human being is born, its soul must purify the sparks that it inherited. These sparks fell to him because of the sin of Adam, and the reason that a human being is born in this world is to purify them. 78. The father and the mother are blessed because they draw a soul from above to the fetus, according to the commandments of man and woman. The root of their higher soul is similar. Through their actions they purify some of the sparks of the glowing shells that clothes the soul of the fetus. But that soul is still in the image of a fetus, and there is still no knowledge in it. The image of the fetus can be repaired through the purity and goodness of the deeds of the father and the mother. 79. When the child is born, the evil inclination enters into it immediately. The divine consciousnesses of nursing enter into the child. They are called Elohi. The evil inclination entered first because of the second defect caused by Adam. That is, as divine consciousness entered and was expanding in Ze'er Anpin. Severities descended first. Therefore, evil inclinations and severities descended first and grasped into mankind as well. Therefore, male children are circumcised in order to remove this evil, i.e., the uncircumcised membrane of childhood that clings while the child yet nurses. Then the child will have knowledge, and it will descend to his foundation, to his Yesod, below his waist. 80. The shells of glowing possess the will and the way to make garments for the soul, to capture it and to exploit it. This is the secret of the hide of the snake. It loves to dress the clean soul. The upper souls are clean and have garments of light. Hikal 7. Atzalut, Beriah, Yetzirah, Asiya, Shah. Kate 49. Kitzur, Atzalut, Beriah, Yetzirah, Asiya, Perek 3, 397. 81. It is possible that humanity might not be able to repair its own soul during the days apportioned to it, because it did not complete the commandments that said that it must purify its garment that is trapped in the glowing. Then the soul will not be able to enter. 82. When male and female mate, take special care, because it is written, if you do well, shall it not be lifted up? And if you do not do well, sin couches at the door, and unto you is its desire, but you can rule over it. You must understand that the garment and the body are the evil inclination. The garment is made for nephesh, from severities, and they are in the glowing shells, and the glowing shells are the evil inclination, because they have not yet been purified. These things are full of shells and dregs. However, when the good inclination, the garment of graces, comes, the glowing shells exit forthwith. Evil does not rule there, because they are the graces. 83. When the good inclination enters, it sweetens the evil inclination. The evil inclination changes from demon to angel. There are two angels who watch over a person, because the severity that had been there previously has been changed and serves as a good angel. 84 morning dawns and evening dusks in the secret. She rises while it is yet night, and gives food to her household and a portion of it to her maidens. She is hidden from the day, and is only revealed during the night. Footnote: Behold, the three worlds of creation, formation, and making are complete vessels, but not divinity. They are therefore called seals of emanation. The breath of the life force and higher upper souls come from vessels of emanation. They shine their seals, their impressions, upon these three worlds. They then become complete. Vessels for life force, higher and upper souls. 85 Jerusalem is the Nukva of Zeir and Pin. She was destroyed, yet she continued. 86. The Emanator, may his name be blessed, gave the lower earth the same generalities as those of the upper worlds of emanation, creation, formation, and making. The gifts of the upper worlds live below in the people of Israel. They will join all upper worlds together as they live here on earth. The people of Israel strive to have the strength needed to purify sins in the tree of knowledge, good and evil, according to the aspects of the four upper worlds. 87. The body of this world is the ground and its minerals. The ground is the exterior vessel, and it surrounds all of the inner lights. The ground possesses all vegetation, and it is the vessel of the breath, the soul. Animals possess the higher soul. Then there is wilderness, the vessel of life. These are the four foundations: ground, vegetation, animals, and wilderness. 88. These things signify the four elements of life: water, fire, breath of life, dust. Behold the demons and evil spirits that are found in this earth. They are the exterior shells. 89. Just as there is holiness, there are also higher souls of the children of mankind, and they come from the interior worlds. Higher souls and angels also come from the exterior worlds. Higher souls from the good inclination and evil inclination exit from within the tree of knowledge that lives in the glowing shells. Angels and demons that are appointed over the workers of the world and its stars and constellations enter the tree from the outside. These are the exterior demons of this world, and they are called the evil inclination of the sons of mankind. 90. The most excellent part of glowing shells that lay within the vessel ascends on the Sabbath and takes additional soul. Then the garment of a person's soul that comes from good and evil inclinations of glowing shells ascends as well, and dresses in another higher soul. In this way all might receive additional soul. 91. It is written in the Parashot Pinhas, P2019, that the soul is the companion of the good inclination and the evil inclination because they are angels, and further, it is written that they are angels that live on high. They have separate intellects, ... Angels and demons live in the four foundations and have good and evil inclinations. On the day of birth, the lower soul enters the infant in this world. Immaturity pervades the infant as it develops under the evil inclination. The soul is made from the wheels of the world of making, which is far above the body. The good and evil inclinations raise the body up. It is created from the mass of material from the four foundations, from good and evil. These foundations are the soul's throne and dress. The soul borrows mass, the body, from below so that it can have life force. 92. The cause of causes rides above the four living creatures of divinity of the world of emanation. These are creatures of strange gods from Samael. There are living creatures that climb to the throne of creation. This is called intellect. 93. The animal soul in a person lives within the four foundations. It is divided into two parts, called the good inclination and the evil inclination. They are the throne and garment for the soul of a person who might wear them on his or her body. Therein lay the secrets of sacrifices of the animal and of the body. This is because the animal soul sins. All things that perturb the heart, such as anger, etc., draw harm to the soul. Such things make a soul that desires and covets. It is called the evil inclination. 94. Let us explain the matter of dreams, prophecies, angels, and demons. The 10 wheels of the world of making have form and matter. The evil that is in them is called strange gods and idol worship. There are those who worship idols and material things of wheels and stars. ... There are also those who worship demons. 95. Behold, there is a quiver in the moon that is the lowest wheel. It moves this wheel. It has matter and form. Matter and form are called oppositions of the tail of the quiver. The lower ones are near to the foundation of fire. They hear about the fortunes of the demons that are in the four foundations. They hear about the wisdoms of the demons that are in the four foundations, and from the wisdom of the raven. 96. Form and soul are likewise in the four foundations. They are composed of good and evil. From the good were created the children of mankind. They possessed matter and form that originated from the soul of the four foundations. Demons were created from the evil of the four foundations. They possessed body and form. Their bodies are composed of the two foundations of fire and air. They dwell in the secret of the breath of life because they have a living soul within them. And there are demons that have material souls who dwell in the earth and in caves. From these demons arise also those who have the souls of plants, and they dwell in seas, rivers, and pits. These two sorts of demons are called the lower ones. They are very evil. They are also other demons, and they are higher than all of the rest. They have a speaking soul and dwell in the foundation of fire. 97. Angels have matter and form. Their form is very pure. They are heroes. They are pure soul and have divine wisdom whenever they put on their garments. And this is the secret. And he lifted up his eyes and looked. And lo, 3 men stood over against him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed down to the earth. 18:2. This gift is not prophecy, but insight, because he was able to grasp deeply into his intellectual soul, and this soul is the soul of that of the angel himself. And thus, those who see Elijah and other higher souls of the righteous every Friday evening, as did our holy rabbi, do so only by means of the garment of the robe of the rabbis. 98. There are 10 levels of angels and demons, and although nothing of the angels and demons is created without matter and form, not all of them have garments. All of the heroes, the 10th group, have garments. Angels are separate intellects. 99. Adam is Ze Empin. He had 2 wives, Leah and Rahel. 100. The Tetragrammaton is composed of simple letters. The majority of the letters are in the image of the feminine, and were contained in Zeed Anpin before the feminine was ever emanated. The feminine is completely strength and judgment. All strengths of the feminine were diffused and hidden inside of Zeed Anpin. 101. The essence of strength builds the feminine. It went to external world to be built up and increase its illuminations and fill Zeir Ampin's void. The feminine is called Hava. The flesh is from his flesh. 102. Sefer HaTikunin states that Adam had 2 wives. The first was bone, the second is flesh, weak judgment. Leah was bone, harsh judgment. She was taken from Adam's rib, which is her rightful place. Rahel, however, is flesh because she came from below his chest, from his exposed illuminations. She is called weak judgment. Rahel will be called woman, who is sweetened. Leah is not woman, but she is mixed in shells, and is not sweetened. She is Lilith, the mother of the demons. But Leah was sweetened by her prayers and by her tears. Because of her tears and good deeds, her shells were removed. She remained alone, holy and sweetened. 103. Behold, in the beginning all the worlds were created in their prescribed order, through the strength of En Sof, and in simple will and grace. Then food, life, and emanations had to be given to the worlds, so that they might thrive in the world of creation. It is written, I know that whatsoever God does, it shall be forever. Nothing can be added to it, nor taken from it. And God made it so that mankind would have fear before him. Ezekiel 3:14. And further, that which has been is, and is that which shall be. And that which has been done is that which shall be done. EC 1:9. And it is written, And on the 7th day God finished the work that he had made, and he rested on the 7th day, GN 202. Created ones are in the image of the higher soul and the external realm. This is because they are mixed among good and evil. Good and evil require good deeds and atonement. Emanations flow faintly to created ones who do not live in atonement. The 10 Sephirot continue to become weaker and fade as they attempt emanate to them. 104. Let us explain the following questions. Why must mankind be created in bodies? Why was mankind made in this way with good and evil inclinations? If these inclinations are evenly balanced within a person, how could free will so incline itself to choose one over the other? And from where does the strength originate that allows a person to do so? And if a person is given the ability to incline toward the good or evil inclinations, should this person be created at all? What is matter? Is mankind's higher soul greater than the angels? And if mankind's soul is greater than the angels, why did they not descend this world and dress themselves in bodies and lower souls? How can the King of Kings speak of prophesy even through an angel to lowly mankind? 105. The essence of the world consists of Yod, He, Vav, He, and are divided into 5 kinds of spirit worlds: highest soul, sacred soul, life, greater soul, higher emotions, and life force. The material world is the body and matter for these 5 worlds. All worlds are actually forms of humanity and are composed of matter, form, and these 5 types of spirituality. 106. There is yet another level, 10 Sephirot, divided into 613 images. Every world lives as one world, and each part of these worlds is composed of a face of God, and they were created from lower Adam's image. 107. The world of creation and worlds below it are called the tree of knowledge that has both good and evil. As one proceeds downward through these worlds, good decreases and evil increases until the lowest world is reached. Most of the lowest world is evil. The wicked besets the righteous. Law is weak. Right rarely goes forth. If it does go forth, it is perverted. Good is called fruit, and evil is called the shell that clothes the fruit. Good lights are the same. The most pure and spiritual within them are clothed in other lights to the outside. Therefore, all lights are arranged according to levels. En Sof is the innermost of them all. The Sephirot are ordered within their own levels as well. Keter is the innermost. Divine inner presence is the outermost. 108. Behold, the fight between matter and the higher soul. The higher soul can only carry out a commandment when it works in unison with the body, but the body is more inclined to do evil, and it is very difficult to subjugate it. The free will of the higher soul seeks the good inclination, but the body must act accordingly, in spite of its difficulties, to subjugate the evil inclination. Understand this well. When one dies, there is neither punishment for the higher soul nor for the body in separate states. Punishment occurs when they are clothed in each other again, reborn as they were in this life. 109. Israel is Zeir Anpin. Various branches flow out from Zeir Anpin. They are Leah, Rachel, Jacob, the generation of the wilderness, and the tribes. 110. Rachel is the true Nukva of Zeir Anpin. She is the wife of Israel, and she is called Zeir Anpin at times. 111. The exterior ones are called strange gods. They nurse and grasp as they imitate the name of Holy Elohim. 112. There is an aspect of the foundation that reflects immaturity. It is like the snake that bites the womb of the doe. It is the feminine that has not yet matured. Its womb is narrow, with severities and judgments, until 5 graces have entered into it. 113. The forepart of female genitalia is the image of the foundation of divine inner presence of Nukva. Nukva of Zeir Anpin is called Rib, people of Israel, bride of Moses and upper rows. Zeir Anpin is called Moses, Israel, and knowledge. Jacob is called Tiferet. Nukva also appears as the rock and lower rows. 114. The menorah is Rachel. She is the Nukva of Zeir Anpin. She is positioned behind Zeir Anpin. The lights of Rachel have always brought moonlight for the US and her people. Zeir Anpin are called the lights of the day. The lights of Nukva are called the lights of the night. 115. The days of the exile are 1,000 years. The world is to be 6,000 years. The first 1,000 is with Chest, continuing down through these thousands of years until the Yesod, the 6th 1,000. The 7th 1,000 is divine inner presence. It is the Sabbath that ascends to God. 116. Leah and Rachel are humility and fear of the Lord. 117. Rachel is called the beginning of wisdom because she is the beginning of all Sephirot from the lowest to the highest. She is called the woman of valor and fear of the Lord. 118. Leah is called humility because she is behind and above Zeir Anpin. Humility is recognized in a person when that person lowers his or her head and bends it down opposite another person, because of this humility, and is submissive to that person who is greater. 119. Zeir Anpin and Nukva must return face to face again through the union of male and female emanations that are inspired by good deeds and atonement. In this way, some sparks of the kings of Edom are purified. The sparks ascend with the female waters, so that little souls might be created, but Zeir Anpin and Nukva must return to their previous state again. When they return, they still live, but remain unconsciousness together, and they do not have the strength to elevate all of the holy sparks completely. They have sufficient strength to elevate only a few at a time. 120. In this, our world, we always need purification. But the kings of Edom were pure from the beginning. If Adam had not sinned, there would have been atonement, and therefore there would be no need for this lower world. The purpose of this world is to purify,